Good afternoon with your 1 o'clock sports headlines. I'm Hugo Chambray, who will play at right back for England against DR Congo this evening. With no James or Quansah for the Three Lions' first knockout match of this World Cup, will Spence or Quansah start in the last 32? Former Congolese international Yannick Bolasie says his old side can upset England.
Wan-Bissaka, one of the most feared right backs, 1v1. Obviously, Tunzebi plays his part, Chancel's played his part and done his stuff in Europe, and then you got Masuaku. So it's a very experienced back line, played a lot of Premier League games as well.
While we're hoping it doesn't come to this, Tuchel says he has kept Gareth Southgate's penalty plan should any of England's knockout games get to a shootout. Meanwhile, France continue to cruise at the World Cup, having beaten Sweden 3-0. Neil Maupay thinks this iteration of Les Bleus are something special.
We are very, very lucky, and I think it's the best French team in years, as far as I know, because we've got Dembele, we've got Olise, Mbappe, Bacola. We've got only world-class players.
Mbappe's 2 scores last night takes him just 1 behind Messi for all-time World Cup goals. Ecuador's head coach has stepped down after their round of 32 defeat to Mexico, while Piero Hincapié became the second player of this World Cup to be sent off for covering his mouth while speaking to an opponent. And Naomi Osaka is through to the third round at Wimbledon following a straight sets win. Dan Evans' career has come to an end after defeat in the doubles. World number ones Aryna Sabalenka and Yannick Sinner will play this afternoon. There's more on our website at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The police officers who attended Henry Novak's stabbing are being investigated for gross misconduct, and the parents of a child who was thrown into a crocodile enclosure in Cambridgeshire say he has a long road to recovery.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Mostly fine and mild this afternoon. Rain in Western Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good afternoon, UK, and good morning from New York. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. We are live on talkSPORT. So Norway, France and Mexico into the last 16. Can England join them today as they face DR Congo live on talkSPORT? We're building up to that throughout this show. Meanwhile, Spurs continue to splash the cash as the Lewis family had a personality transplant. Also today is the Azteca, a leveller. Koeman resigns. Where next for the Dutch? Should national associations land managers via private investors? What will skew the market more? Elliot Anderson or financial rules? And as Lampard commits to Coventry, can he finally prove his Premier League worth? Jim White, Simon Jordan, Troy Deeney, and we are live on talkSPORT. Hi everybody, match day involving England, of course. England go into action tonight, 5 o'clock your time back in the UK, up against DR Congo, and it is live on talkSPORT. So are we this morning, just gone 8:05 in the morning, and Simon is sitting to my left, grinning like a Cheshire cat. I don't really know why, and so too is Troy. Any little gags at my expense going on?
It's actually at mine this time, so go on.
Yes, parcel delivery. Can you see Troy's outfit working for UPS? There you go, Troy. Lovely.
He's been waiting on that all day. Just because I said he hasn't ironed his blazer, that's all.
Oh, that he gets very touchy.
gets very
Doubling up
touchy
things
about
like
it.
that.
As a delivery driver.
The UPS drivers here in this part of the world wear, well,
They wear
exactly
brown.
what Troy's
They wear
wearing.
brown, don't worry.
Yeah, and I saw Troy moments before we came on air. He said, "I'm just going to the loo," and he was covering something on his
Unstitching it,
shirt,
yeah, unstitching.
and I think he was getting the UPS badge off
Guys,
it.
it's expensive.
I like that,
New York,
Simon.
so I've got to do what I've got to do.
Troy, good morning.
Good morning. I'm glad I came in. Yeah.
We're glad you came in as well. The French looked good last night, Troy,
Yeah.
did they not? Yeah.
They look inevitable at this moment in time, but the weird and scary thing for me is it feels like they're still playing with the handbrake on. It feels like they've got another one, maybe even 2 gears to go.
What, inevitable to win the trophy?
Yeah, at this moment, you're looking at it, you're saying, well, who can beat them? Where's the area of weakness?
Yeah.
You just don't really know at this moment in time.
Well, I suppose you could argue that they're a bit like the Moses Atoma of the World Cup because no one's landed a blow on them right now and no one's put them into a situation where they've had a bit of adversity. Senegal gave them a bit of a run for their money in the first half, but then they just souped up and went away because Senegal weren't good enough.
Yeah.
They will have some challenges.
Yeah.
And it's about that moment. But yes, in opposition factored into the equation because the Swedes are not a good side. Let's lose the
No, they're
perspective
not.
of Isak and Gyökeres and whatever they individually might have and remain in a space where they shouldn't have been at this World Cup, really, because they didn't win a game to get here. Some ridiculous coefficient from the European Nations Cup got them into this situation, and the ridiculousness of teams like Italy not being here shouldn't evade people on that basis. And so they haven't played particularly well, Sweden. They got put to the sword by the French. We know what they've got. We know that the French have got an irresistible force.
Oh, yeah.
The interesting thing will be, is anybody going to be an immovable object against this irresistible force? And I think they'll have some challenges. And then you'll see the psyche of this French team when someone gets into them.
Yeah. They have Paraguay next in the last 16. You would think
Won't be them.
They'll go through. While many people were watching the French in this part of the world, I was at the theatre last night, Troy, as I often do. I've become quite a thesp. Well, I always kind of was. You were. You enjoy going to the theatre.
I love the theatre, yeah, I do love it.
And it's quite a production. There's two strangers carry a cake across New York. Very funny it was too, at the Longacre Theatre just off Times Square. The interesting aspect of that, Troy, afterwards you walk into Times Square and you think you literally have arrived in another universe. Massive number of Mexico fans there, massive number of Ecuadorian fans, the French in a huge group, taunting them. Honestly, the atmosphere was unreal.
Going to the theatre in a Mac of top shelf material is not the same as going to the theatre that you and I would like.
Right, are you done? There's something I want to ask you here, Simon, because your word could be pivotal. Your word could be pivotally important here, as it is every morning. But on this one, I think yes. So let's hear what he's got to say, Troy. Straight after us today, England against DR Congo. A 5 p.m. kickoff for you all back home in the UK. You know where I'm going with this, Simon. To the employer in the room, Mr. Jordan, should employers back home let their employees clock off early today to watch England?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. There were times when I had lots and lots of staff and there were moments in time where big things came to pass. I think it's a good thing for morale. I think it's a good thing to suggest to people that you understand that other things are equally important in people's life. It builds teams, it builds relationships. So there's a part of me that would say certain parts of the business, that I would have that as not a problem. But obviously, if you've got a retail facing, I had 200, 300 stores of retail facing, and the high street is not going to expect people to close their shops. And people wandering up to a particular shop to be able to do something is not going to be appreciating that shop closed at 4 o'clock. So you find a balance.
You find a balance. Okay.
Or put it in the stores.
Can they close at like 3?
No.
Right.
No, that costs money.
Well, there you go. You heard it there from Simon. Yes, employers, if you're all listening back home in the UK, certainly in England, of course, I wouldn't have thought where I come from anyone's particularly bothered. But yeah, sure. You want to clock off early, why not clock off early? I'm going to hear from Thomas Tuchel in a second, but Troy, here's the thing. If England get through against DR Congo, Mexico lie in wait in the last 16. I wonder how much of a leveller is the Azteca at high altitude?
Yeah, well, getting through tonight's going to be hard enough just because that low block is what we seem to be struggling against, and we're going to face it not only against the DR Congo, we've got a little bit more going forward, but also Mexico at the Azteca, as you alluded to, will be lively. I thought the game yesterday before kickoff was maybe it was a coin toss in terms of just on the pitch. Like one team versus another, they're very similar. You put the noise in, you put the crowd in, you put the Azteca in, you make Mexico favourites by about 25%. So I think for England, it's going to be a case of can we A, dominate the ball, but also B, can we actually quiet that crowd? Because everyone talks about how great the crowd is, but that crowd could go the other way very, very quickly if they haven't touched the ball for 3-4 minutes.
True.
And if you start running all over them. So, yeah, I think England have got a nice little pathway coming up, but it's going to be how we play, not about how anybody else plays.
Yeah, I mean, look, it must have been factored into the thinking. The fact that we've been talking about playing Mexico at some point for several weeks now, it would have been factored into the equations, think the mentality of the coaching staff, the requirements around what they're preparing the players for. So that would be what it is. They've got a better team than Mexico, Ecuador, not England. So whatever Mexico did or didn't do to Ecuador to win that game, and whatever experiences Ecuador had is not relevant to us. The game this evening, lessons take away. Get fast, get early, get an early start, get a goal early if you can, because then the game complexion of the game changes. Then they can bank up all they want for the rest of the game because they're going to lose the game 1-0. So with that in mind, it's incumbent upon England to start quickly, move the ball quickly, move them around, get a goal, and away we go. And if they do that, they'll win the game at a canter.
Yes.
If they don't, then we'll start to bleed through our eyes. The concerns will start to come in. But going to the Azteca, they're professional footballers. They know what's expected of them. The one thing that England can do is retain the ball. It's whether they can retain the ball and then do something meaningful with it. But I think that we will, despite the fact that there's no part of what we've seen so far can we suggest gives us any confidence about how deep England go in this tournament. But I still have this blind faith in the fact that the Tuchel factor will come to play. I might be desperately clinging on to it because otherwise I'm going to get Southgate rammed down my throat dawn till dusk. But the fact of the matter is I think that we will start to see England blossom.
The only downside of it, Troy, from a fan's perspective back home, if England beat Congo, it's Mexico in Mexico City, Monday, 1 a.m. back in the UK. Live in talkSPORT, but 1 a.m. I mean...
They should go to work on the Tuesday, should they?
There you go. Public holiday, just like we had one in Scotland. Simon mentioned Thomas Tuchel. Today, forget Mexico at the moment. It's all about DR Congo for England today. And Tuchel, ahead of this game, is calling for the players, embrace this pressure. This is Tuchel.
I love these situations. I feel it as a privilege to be in these situations. I think we can just accept it. We are the favorites. We play against our very own expectations. We expect from us to go further than round of 32. That's just how it is. So why would our fans not expect it? Why would the public opinion not be the same? That's just what it is. We prepared in the best way possible, in a completely normal way. Like there's no extra need. We don't need to do extra stuff. We just need to be the best version of ourselves. We don't need anything extra now in these stages. But trust and believe in ourselves. We have what it takes.
We have what it takes, says Tuchel. Do either of you, Troy, Simon, think that this is a given for England tonight?
No, I don't think it's a given. Yeah,
should be.
Yeah, should be, but. We've proven to make every game as difficult as possible so far. I think DR Congo, they're based on just having a very tight shape, defensively well organised and not allowing too many goals. We've shown that we struggle to break teams down. I stand by it. I think me and Simon are in agreement on this. England, player for player, are better than most teams at this tournament. Probably France, maybe Spain have probably got the other squads. We're top 3 squads. If everyone plays to the best of their ability, we win. But handling pressure, moving the ball quickly, these are all things and factors that we can't put into until the game plays out. Congo, it's essentially a free hit for them, isn't it? Everyone thinks they're going to lose.
These are elite players that are conditioned to playing in elite environments. The difference with Thomas Tuchel is Thomas doesn't see this as an obstacle, he sees it as an opportunity. So he braces himself for the opportunity rather than the obstacle. He doesn't talk about the fact that we're favourites and try and deflect from the favourite. He steers into it. This is what Thomas Tuchel was brought here for. This is his biggest test so far, because here you are now in the World Cup. All the qualifying games you expected to win, all the background noise, all the paraphernalia about how we did or didn't play against Ghana. This is it. This is the moment. And each one coming after that will be the next moment for him. Because he wasn't brought in to take us into a tournament to go out with an ignominious exit. He was brought in to try and win this bloody thing.
Sure.
And however difficult that might be against Brazil and Argentina and Mexico and whichever space they're in, is what it is. But I like the elite mentality, and the players should feed off it.
Right. This is when...
It doesn't
You're right, Simon. This is when it gets testing, isn't it? As the Netherlands and Germany found out to their cost. Later today, Belgium take on Senegal, and then the USA, and the place is buzzing about that, the USA up against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Straight after us today, though, remember this, England, DR Congo, 5 p.m. kickoff for you back home in the UK, and it's live on talkSPORT, as we are this morning, live from New York.
We've already established you're a deluded Arsenal fan. What do you make of Morgan Rogers and £130 million?
You know what? I saw O'Hara going absolutely mad on was it? He was somewhere. He was talking. Yeah, and he was talking about the prices, etc. And I do actually think he's right, man. I think the prices have gone absolutely crazy. But it's one of those where, as crazy as it is, number one, it's not my money, and number two, football makes so much money. They're only going to spend where they think they can get the money back. So as much as it's crazy for us and we go, oh my gosh, these crazy prices, they're making money selling people's shirts on the back end anyway, and all these expensive tickets and everything that's going on. So someone can afford it.
Do you need him though, Joel? Because I agree with Benty when I've listened to Benty say that you've got Eze, you've got Odegaard, you've got Ranieri down and coming back, but don't you need a proper left winger? I know Martinelli can do good things, Trossard, okay, but wouldn't that money be well spent elsewhere?
I think he's so good that if he's available, you take him. I really do. I think in the Premier League,
30 million.
It's not my money. If they can afford it, why do we care?
Because I'm guessing you've only got a certain amount of money to spend in this window, and 130 million will be a huge chunk of it. Wouldn't you rather spend that chunk of it on a left-sided midfielder?
It depends on who's available, though, Andy. Like nowadays, who's available? If I was to ask you, who do we get? If it's not him, who?
Nico Williams.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Barcola.
He's signed a contract though. With,
he don't want to leave, does he?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's look, Kvaratskhelia, however you say his name. He would have been brilliant like a couple of years ago, but we missed the boat on that. I don't want Rafael Leao. The option of Rashford, I've been hearing, but.
What does it say about the Eze transfer, though, Joel? If you're going for Morgan Rogers now, after Eze signed last summer, what does it say about that transfer?
Yeah, but Eze...
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Hi everybody, we're live in New York. I'm just checking my weather app. I didn't realise that in this part of the world it's going to get up to 35 degrees. this afternoon, mid-afternoon, so it's going to be hot here in New York City today. It's 20 past 1 with you back home in the UK. And we're coming to you live in partnership with Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station, the Statue of Liberty, looking absolutely magnificent. And straight after us today, remember, 5 p.m. UK time, England against DR Congo. And it is live on talkSPORT. So are we, Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney with us this morning in studio, and I'm delighted about that. I want to get into a developing story back home in the UK, and we're watching this with real interest. What is going on at Tottenham Hotspur? Tottenham have outbid Manchester United for midfielder Matthias Fernandes of West Ham in a deal worth £85 million. Now that will eclipse their previous club record, £65 million. Bid paid for Dominic Solanke. That was back in 2024. But what is going on at Tottenham? Fernandes is just 21. He will become Tottenham's fourth signing of this summer, having already signed defenders Andy Robertson and Marco Senesi on free transfers from Liverpool and Bournemouth, respectively. And they've brought in Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton for £52 million. What is going on here? Simon, we know what happened to them last season, as happened to them the season before. It was near relegation. Is that the best thing that might have happened to Tottenham here? Is this why they're doing it?
Well, they've been saying they're going to change the way they approach it for some time. They told you last year when they fired Daniel that this was a new dawn, that they were going to change direction, they were going to be competitive, and that they were going to spend a lot of money. And they subsequently put themselves fourth and bottom of the league and signed Conor Gallagher as their window signing in January, as their marquee statement. So £137 million early in the window is akin to what they spend normally during the course of the window. We don't know if they're going to sell players during the course of this window to perhaps equalise some of the spending that they've got. They've done it early. The question that would be more interesting to me is the wages, because that was always the situation with Spurs, which is, will they meet the wage requirements of players, because they don't like to match the wages of other clubs because they've got a particular requirement. Look, whatever reason they've changed, Spurs fans should see the benefit of it. Now, whether De Zerbi takes them to the promised land, whatever the promised land is, and whatever reason they've changed, it's kind of ridiculous, because what the suggestion will be is that we're doing this because we've got no Daniel Levy, or Daniel Levy was the problem, and that's why we're now doing this. But isn't it kind of ridiculous to suggest that the majority shareholders that fired Daniel Levy wouldn't have been prepared to do things if asked or wanted to? So whatever reason they've changed, whether it's the grandchildren have changed their attitude, or they've realised that actually the winning of trophies has real significant value to the capital value of this football club, which, by the way, they do want to sell, despite their very best protestations, right? So with that in mind, all of that might have come to an epiphany.
But why didn't they do it when Daniel Levy was there?
Well, that's a $64 million question, because what they're trying to suggest to the world...
Why didn't he push them?
Well, I'm assuming that he did. I'm assuming that the relationships that he created for Tottenham Hotspur, whether it's building a stadium, making them economically viable, underpinning it, because what I can tell you is I don't think there was any appetite from Joe Lewis to put any money in over the last X amount of years.
How bizarre is that?
Now, whether it's how they've changed it, why they've changed it, whether the grandchildren and the children have got more involved and are now in a situation where they recognise that making Tottenham a trophy-winning side is actually going to increase the value of this football club, as we've seen with Manchester City, as we've seen with Chelsea. So with that in mind, whatever the sea change is, I don't think it should be about blaming one set of ownership, because that ownership was under the jurisdiction of the majority shareholders, who are still the majority shareholders.
I mean, if Tottenham had finished, say, 6th last season, Troy, would they be doing this?
I don't know. I can already see and feel how this is going to go, but let's just go with it anyway. So Fernandes, 85 million.
Yeah.
He's been relegated last season, and he got relegated the season before. So back-to-back relegations, and he's going to come in and what? Change your mentality. So there's one thing about getting relegated is you get used to losing. So if you do that for one season, okay, fair enough, it's a bad year. But you've done that back-to-back seasons, now he's going to come in and change the mentality. I don't think so. Van Hecke, decent, solid player. Why does he go to Spurs? Why Spurs the team? If he's the top 6 player, why is he not going to any of these top 6 clubs?
Right.
Andy Robertson, love Andy Robertson, been fantastic. He's going in to add leadership qualities and all that. Not the player he once was. The boy Senesi from Bournemouth. You've got a free transfer. The whole market's yours. You land at Spurs. I'm sorry, but I'm not really blown away by this.
So you're baffled as to why this is the destination for some of these players.
But it's what Spurs do all the time. They buy bang average players, overinflated prices, and they tell you that it's good.
But the narrative...
Bang average?
They're bang average.
The narrative that's being curated is that Spurs are now in foot race over wages and winning those foot races. And they're prepared to meet the expectations of players, whereas those players would have elected to go to another club. So that also tells you a different argument about the type of player, which is the only reason you're going to Tottenham in this instance, if that argument is to be won, is because you're getting paid more than other football clubs. So what kind of player are you?
But Troy, why would you spend 85 million on Fernandes, who you say is bang average?
Because they've been sold a dream. You know, someone keeps telling you this kid's great. This kid's a wonder player, he's a talent. We watch the games, we go to the games. Like I say, he played the large majority for West Ham. By the way, the West Ham game that got them relegated against Arsenal, he misses the chance. He misses a big key deciding factor.
But this must be driven by De Zerbi, mustn't it?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. He wants players. He wants better players.
But Simon, what's happened? Have the Lewis family gone down into a vault under the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and got a pot of gold, come up the stairs, and from this point onwards, everything changes? I mean, why in 20 years could Daniel Levy not push for a change in their mindset?
You'd have to ask Daniel that. I can't answer that question. What I can tell you is that there will be certain decisions that Daniel would have made that they would have supported, and maybe they want the change of direction. Maybe they want a change of... Well, clearly they want a change of direction because they've made decisions and made changes. That first instance of the first iteration of it was poor, i.e. last season. I don't know what we're making a hullabaloo about. They spend 150, 160 million pounds every season. So the fact they spent 127 so far, 137 done it early, doesn't mean they're going to continue spending like drunken sailors for the rest of the transfer window. If they go and spend another 137 million quid over the next 6 to 8 weeks before the season starts, then let's all jump on board and say what a revelation that is. But right now they've gone early. We don't know what they're going to trade out.
Does that balance off with the trade out, though, right?
Well, they haven't done any trading out yet, so
they're going to have to, though.
All we know, well, I don't think they're going to suffer from any PSR issues. I don't think Spurs have got a problem. What they've had a problem with is liquidity to be able to do deals, which means extra cash, and obligations to banks. One of the obligations many, many years ago, and I don't think this is an urban myth, Arsenal had to observe certain banking protocols and certain banking covenants, which means they had to stay within a certain confines of their banking relationships. And one of the conditions that Arsenal had to adhere to was Arsene Wenger remained manager. In the Spurs scenario, I've understood this to be the case, that the banking covenants restrict their wages to turnover ratio to a certain level. And if they break that banking covenant, then what happens is you get punitive interest charges. So the interest that you're paying on the borrowings that you have suddenly becomes more expensive. Now, the Lewis family might have turned around and gone, we don't care about that. Or they might have gone into the bankers and gone, we got a bunch of deals with you left, right and centre outside of football. Pack in your nonsense and we want to do it slightly differently with you guys. So there might be a variety of reasons. But I'm not defending Daniel. I'm just saying that the majority shareholders, who are the controlling influence of the football club, despite having their foot soldier on the ground who is running the business for them, are still the same majority shareholders. And to think that they're acting in isolation and Daniel had the autonomy to do whatever he wanted, probably not true.
Just on the pitch, though, do these guys that's already signed, do they put them in the top 6?
No, well, I don't think so, no. But I think that...
And that's why they're signing them, Troy. It's a good point.
And the question is, does De Zerbi... Because De Zerbi has managed to turn himself into some messiah, and because they've had their pants royally pulled down now and been paying him 3 times what he's worth and made him the 3rd highest paid manager in the Premier League. They're now going to back the bugger. So, but bottom line is De Zerbi a top 6 manager? On what basis? Because he managed Shakhtar Donetsk for a couple of weeks.
Just before we go into the break, what is the difference between your pants being pulled down and your pants being royally pulled down? There's an image in my mind.
OK, I got my pants royally pulled down by Parish and his rotten gang.
Oh, mate.
And Daniel got his pants pulled down a little bit because he's still going to make 500 or 600 million quid out of his part.
As you might imagine, there will be an enormous inquest if, and it's a big if England go out to DR Congo. Of course there will be. There's been a huge inquest in Germany as to why the Germans went out early, and the same with the Netherlands. We're going to look more specifically at the Netherlands very shortly because they are home early. Don't come home too soon. Do you remember that? Oh, that was the song about Scotland, wasn't it? And they did. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. First stop, Toolstation.
Mario, just how good is this Netherlands side? Because on paper, you look at some of the players in the squad, the likes of Van Dijk, De Jong, Gravenberch. You've got players, experienced players playing at top clubs. But yet again, they've gone out of another major tournament. Are the Netherlands team that strong? Or did you expect this, or this was going to come?
The thing is, like, this is a good question from you. Why? Because we also have to make our team strong. Like, if you're going to play, if you change the system, you know, like, look, if you play a whole new system with a team and with the individuals that are not used to playing like that, it's always going to be a change for them. Okay, then you play three at the back, you know, three in the middle of the park and then two wing backs. Okay, Dumfries, easy for him. But for Van der Ven, it's different because he's a centre half, plays at Spurs in the centre of the defensive line, and then he plays on the left hand side. He's not a wing back. He's not going to dribble. He's got the speed, but his speed is something that comes later. It's not like a starting. Then you play in the middle of the pitch. You play two players. They are very good when they have the ball. But now I can ask you a question. What happens with those two players when we don't have the ball? And that's exactly how the Moroccans hurt us.
Mario, my question is simple. What's next for Netherlands?
For the Netherlands, what is next? You know, like Koeman, I don't know, like, because of the personal situation and his family situation, I don't want to go deep into it, but I think he might make a decision and say, like, hey, this might come to my time. I did it twice, and so we have to wait for his decision. He will make it and tell us. Away from that, I don't see, look, now I think the Holland team, you have to focus on, like, you miss some penalties. Some other guys are going to, you know, feel hurt. They got to pick them back up and get the guys back on their feet. That's one of the key things. And the other part is, like, you got to ask yourself, where are we missing and where are the other teams advancing?
So Jeff Hurst is a name that's synonymous with the World Cup, especially in England. That hat-trick at Wembley in 1966, the stuff of legend. But did you know the tables turned 4 years later when a dodgy goal decision cost him and England another shot at glory? After 66, Jeff Hurst is a household name. England's main striker, a goal every other game for his country, and even a spot singing on Top of the Pops. It looked a bit different, didn't it? But the 1970 World Cup wouldn't be a cakewalk. Hurst only scores 1 in 3 in the groups, and England finished second, meaning they get a tougher draw for the knockouts. And who's waiting for them in the quarterfinals? West Germany. It's a physical game, and as you can see, Hurst wasn't given much time on the ball. England go 2 up, but the Germans come back, and we're going to extra time. Gerd Müller scores, and seemingly puts Germany in the last 4. Just moments from time, though, Jeff Hurst has the ball in the back of the net. But the referees decided that when Francis Lee cuts in from the right, despite his cross clearly deflecting off a German boot, Hurst is offside, so he disallows it. After that decision went in England's favour 4 years earlier, suddenly they're on the receiving end of a controversial call. England had been one of the favourites, and Hurst never played at the World Cup again. If only we'd had VAR. Ugh, can't believe I just said that.
We are indeed live from NYC, New York, looking wonderful on another beautiful sunny morning here. This is Wednesday, July the 1st. Good morning, everybody. Just reminding people, Troy, just reminding them where we are.
What floor?
Floor 50 of the World Trade Center, as Andy Jacobs, I heard yesterday.
Of that there is no doubt.
So facetiously reminded everybody back at base, hey, we're here and they ain't. There you go. And we're enjoying ourselves. thoroughly. It's coming to an end soon. Andy Goldstein will come out with Darren Bent very shortly. Mr. Jordan's in a very plucky mood this morning.
I know. Must be getting close to going home.
Yeah.
That's not a celebration. Michelle's waiting.
I'd almost describe his mood, ladies and gentlemen, this morning as impish. But hey, what do we know? Let's head back to London. Let's find out what's going on at Wimbledon. And here's Lisa O'Sullivan.
Current champion Yannick Sinner's looking to make quick work of Nuno Borges. They're just knocking up here on centre court in the second round. Tommy Paul and Naomi Osaka already winners today. Dan Evans, though, his career's come to an end. He's lost in the men's doubles. The old school shot maker didn't make it through qualifying and didn't get a singles wildcard, so it is all over for the man from Solihull. And Serena Williams has an injury scare ahead of the doubles with Sister Venus. Her agent says the 23-year-old winner tweaked her knee at the end of the first set in the first round. She also claims Serena was therefore excused from her media obligations by the Wimbledon and WTA medical teams.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed. There's Vernon, Simon. We know Vernon, don't we? The Chelsea fan. Yes. Back home in London. Jim is licking his lips at the prospect of DR Congo beating England tonight. Yes. Vernon, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. And I think England will go through tonight and they will head to Mexico City. I was there in 1986 and it's a whole different environment there. Very interesting to see what happens there. The Dutch would love to still be in this tournament, just like the Germans, but they're not just like the Germans, because both of these big football nations have headed home early. And obviously, there's a bit of a post-mortem going on in both countries as to why that happened. Let's concentrate on the Netherlands, knocked out by Morocco on penalties, and Ronald Koeman then resigned as Netherlands manager. Top Dutch football journalist Marcel van der Kraan joins us live on the show. Marcel, good to speak to you. Did you see this coming? Did you think, as many Dutch journalists probably did think, the Dutch will go deep in this tournament? They might even win it.
Oh, no. We never thought that. Actually, most people thought they would be out by the quarterfinals. We didn't even make that. And that is so disappointing. Nothing was convincing. And it wasn't in the first match against Japan, but we got some nice goals against Sweden. We beat Tunisia, and maybe there was something growing. And then Ronald Koeman, an experienced coach, but he turned it all upside down in that last match against Morocco. So defensive, Italian Catenaccio style it was, instead of the flowing Dutch attacking football.
How did you honestly feel? What were you? I mean, you have followed the Netherlands at major tournaments throughout your career, Marcel. How did you honestly, personally feel when they headed home the other night after losing that penalty shootout?
Well, frustration is probably the best word. You know, if the Dutch go into a tournament, if they go in any match and they start to defend, it's a nature, it's a quality the players have not grown up with. No player in Dutch academies is grown up with a style of football where, we do it from the back and we defend and we don't play counter-attacking football, we don't play the long ball. And if that is what you suddenly turn to in a major tournament where the players are not comfortable with, don't forget, we played with 4 central defenders. I mean, if you think about it, 4 central defenders, it is absolutely against the whole idea of our game. You know, we had Virgil van Dijk, we had Nathan Ake, we had Mickey van der Ven, we had Jan-Paul van Ecke. Yes, all very decent players in the Premier League. But to play him all 4, plus Denzel Dumfries, where are you going to get your creative football from what we have to rely on if we want to beat a side? Frankie de Jong, the playmaker, I don't think he touched the ball more than 5 times in each half. It was very frustrating to watch, especially because the Moroccans, they played like the Dutch. Flowing football, attacking, aggressive.
But Marcel, didn't you guys, I mean, I grew up very young, but watching the Dutch side of the 74 and 78 and the total football and really revelling and enjoying it. But weren't you guys more pragmatic when you won the European Championships in 88? And you certainly were a defensive and robust side when you played against the French in that World Cup final where the physicality of your side came into question and the defensive nature of your play. So I'm curious to say, whilst you're steeped in a country in this total football and beautiful football that we saw from Cruyff and Neeskens and Johnny Rep and Rob Brinsenbrink and all those great players of the past and the Van der Krols and whatever else, but there are many times over the years that we've seen the Dutch side not be part of that DNA.
But then there were always great attacking players to rely on. Your big players have to stand up in big games. And in 1988, Marco van Basten, you could give him the ball and he would do it for you. Yeah. Rudy Gullit, he did it for you. Give him the ball, he started running, whatever. Rijkaard was in the central of defence. Yes, it was robust, but Rijkaard could move into midfield. Koeman, in that time of his peak of his career as a central defender, I think was record goal scorer for Barcelona around that season, you know, scoring an
I'm not talking about individual players, I'm talking about the approach, because you are bemoaning and unhappy with the fact that he adopted a style of play against an opposition which are considered to be a decent opposition, which are probably above you in the rankings, and you're suggesting that that is an absolute travesty and not the way Dutch football is set up. And I'm throwing a counter-argument back at you that despite the fact you had individual players of great talent in previous incarnations, the Dutch did play a pragmatic brand of football. They did play a defensive ilk at times to win the European Championships in '88 and when they lost the World Cup final to the French.
But only a number of times, and I think the majority of the times we played our own football. When we reached the final in 2010 against Spain, it was a cracking game. And yes, we did have two very pragmatic midfielders with Nigel de Jong, you know, being very aggressive, and Mark van Bommel, two hard men. But all the rest of the team with Robin van Persie, you know, Wesley Sneijder, it was instilled with attacking DNA. And this is where we think where our strength is. Our strength is not in a defensive thinking. And Koeman completely turned everything upside down in this last game. And that's where the players were out of their system. It was 2 years ago that he played with 5 defenders in 2024. Yeah. And then can you change with 2 days training in a camp in Kansas City to get all that instilled in the players again? I don't think so.
Yeah, I hear a lot of what both of you guys are saying, and I don't tend to disagree. What I was just saying to Simon in the break is a real distinct lack of identity. It feels like an identity crisis at the moment. You're talking about attacking and wanting to attack, and obviously the manager said, oh God, Morocco are good, how do we stop them? It just feels like at the moment with Dutch football, we're kind of in this weird space of what are we? Are we trying to recreate yesteryear? Or are we going to go and do it a new way? If you look at the likes of Ajax and how poorly they were in the Champions League this season, for example.
Well, you've got a real good point there, Troy. And maybe it's something similar, and it's a hard comparison maybe, but if you look at Liverpool, what happened there, in a way, Arne Slot wanted to have attacking football, but it didn't really work out this season, but he had those sort of players. Virgil van Dijk feels more comfortable with more players around him. Certainly, he would have agreed with this style and with this system the other day. But then you have the likes of Frankie de Jong, who must have been frustrated out of his head because he wants to have the ball. The Dutch are only good when they have the ball. When we don't have the ball, we can't play football. And I think this is where we come to the next point. Who's going to be our next manager? He will have to adopt or go back to the real DNA of Dutch football. And maybe, and I can see Simon's point, maybe it's a little bit of an idealistic idea. Are we maybe too much in our in the clouds with our head, thinking we can only play entertaining football? It is maybe.
Is there anyone who stands out for you as a candidate that you go, right, give that person the job? Anyone who stands out?
Well, there are only 2 candidates at the moment in Holland who are put forward. One is Peter Bos of PSV Eindhoven. He waited to renew his contract till very late at the end of last season. So the Dutch, not the government, the federation had the chance to appoint him. They let it go. And now he's renewed his contract there, says he doesn't want to do it anymore. And the other one is Arne Slot himself. And he's been mentioned before. He's free. And we can't really see another candidate. And the Dutch don't want to go to a German coach like you do.
I like how you finished it there, Marcel. I like how you finished it there. Thank you very much indeed, Marcel van der Kraan, saying maybe Bosch or maybe Arne Slot, the two names in the frame. Talking about names, who was Van der Krol? I heard him getting a mention a moment ago.
Van der Kerkhoff, Rudy Krol. I combined the two of them.
I liked what you did there.
Yeah, Rudy Krol and Willy van der Kerkhoff.
We're almost
and Rennie van der Kerkhoff.
That's the one. We're almost not quite. We almost had Hertz van Rentel, but we were going in that direction.
Troy would be driving it then, wouldn't he?
Don't start for me because you messed up again.
8:45 in the morning in this part of the world, 1:45 back home in the UK. Straight after us today, remember, 5 p.m. your time, England, Congo, live in talkSPORT.
Neil, why doesn't Mbappe get the respect that he deserves? Because I was saying earlier, if R9 scored that first goal he scored last night, we'd be all going crazy about it today.
It was an unbelievable goal. I don't understand. I feel like maybe his character sometimes seems to annoy people, but his quality on the pitch is just ridiculous. When you look at his first goal, the step over, the speed of the step over, and then the touch and finish, how quick is after that touch to take the shot, is just unbelievable. And Gabby, you play football and you know how hard it is. He makes it look easy, but it's absolutely not.
Agreed.
Neil, Mbappe's getting a lot of the headlines, and rightly so, because the amount of goals he's scoring. But Michael Olise's performances, I mean, he has probably been, I'd probably say, France's best player, probably without getting the headlines.
In France, he's getting headlines. Don't worry about it. But we are very, very lucky, and I think he's the best French team in years. As far as I know, because we've got Dembele, we've got Olise, Mbappe, Bacola, we've got only world-class players. But I have to say, Michael Olise is probably our best player. Yesterday, when I watched the game, you know, everything was so easy for him. He's so effortless, and you can see like his quality. And when he's got the ball, like players making runs, and he always found the solution. He could have scored 2 or 3 goals if he was a bit more lucky. I think he's top of his game, and it's actually scary when you think about it because he's only 24.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com for all the latest odds and offers. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
One of the busiest airports in the world, JFK, of course, here in New York. We're out of here at the weekend. And, of course, coming in the other direction, Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent. They will take the World Cup baton, if you like, from us, and we'll crack on here. It is a very busy one today, in actual fact, and following us, the game, England against DR Congo, live on talkSPORT, 5 o'clock kickoff for you back home in the UK. But it's time to look ahead to the day with talkSPORT Bet and their ambassador, Ryan Douglas. Ryan, good morning to you from New York. You know exactly where we are broadcasting from. How are you finding life back home?
It's okay. I'm just having a look on the camera. I thought this outfit was all right, but I've actually dressed for your weather, not my weather. I'm still trying to adjust to the UK weather, lads. So I'm still getting there. I'm still on New York time and New York mentality, but I'm getting there, lads. I'm getting there.
Good man. As Simon said at the top of the show, Troy's got a UPS shift straight after this with his van parked outside the World Trade Center. Sorry, that was unkind of me, Troy. I shouldn't join in.
It's
just
fine.
because Simon said it.
Bullies is what
Ryan, let's get into it. Nick's Germany manager. Where are you going with that today?
Yeah, I was listening to your Klopp chat yesterday, guys, and I just thought it'd be interesting to see how it corresponds with the betting with talkSPORT Bet. So, as you guys talked about, you talked about Klopp at length. He is the front runner. And he's leading the pack. He's the favourite. He's at 4-5, so just shy of evens, really, to be the next Germany manager. And Pep, weirdly enough, Pep Guardiola is second in the running here with talkSPORT Bet at 11-4. So I thought it'd be interesting to ask the lads, I mean, how different the dynamic is between international management and club management, because I have a hot take on this, that I actually think for many reasons to be an international manager, to yield results is harder because you get less time with the players. You can't sign players. There's more expectation. There's a unified fan base. But I know I might be in the minority there. I know you said you're an admirer of Klopp, Simon. You've said that in terms of him being a manager. But do you think that would satisfy his hunger, the Germany manager role? Don't know where he is in his life. I mean, he's walked away from a domestic manager's job that was very much connected to him, that he was very much connected to. So he'll have difficulty replicating that kind of intensity again because of the uniqueness of the Liverpool fan base and what he was able to achieve there. Didn't win as many things as his reputation seems to have suggested, but notwithstanding that will go down as an absolute icon in recent Liverpool history, up there with the Shankleys and Dalglishers of the world, I suspect, for different reasons. If he goes into Germany, a whole different ball game, has all the charisma, for, bags of it to be able to entrance the media. But he'll have the same challenges as Nagelsmann, that the players aren't as good as they once were. He's got holes to fix. And it just depends where he is, because I was suggesting yesterday, and sort of equating it to experiences in my life and other people that I've known, once you turn the pilot light off on something, it's a bugger to get it started again. And once you lose that rhythm, that way of operating, you're still the same person, but when you go to the well, it doesn't quite have the same feeling. So I'm not suggesting that's where he is, but you don't know when someone shuts it down, walks away from it, doesn't do it for 2 years, only observes on certain things, doesn't want to do certain interviews anymore because he doesn't want the controversy that once upon a time he'd have been quite happy to run towards, as we saw the other day on the suggestions about what Bastian Schweinsteiger had said, and he didn't want to touch any of that. And I think he would have touched it a couple of years ago because he would have known the player. True. So all of that comes into play, but it is Jurgen Klopp. And he can summon up this intensity because that fundamentally is what he is. Absolutely. I think, Troy, if Klopp goes in there, the rest of the nations are like,
no, he's
Germany are back.
He's intense. Obviously, I played against his Liverpool teams, and they were intense. I just wonder whether, A, the players can do what he wants them to do, whether they have that profile of player, and then B, with the short amount of time that they have, whether he can get that level of intensity into the players to be ready for that, for a tournament. So, yeah, it'd be an interesting one, but the German team is all over the place. It's funny, we talk about a lot of teams, the Dutch, the Italians, and now the Germans. They've lost that identity that certainly I grew up in. Simon, obviously, he's a little bit older than me. Well, a lot older than me. Yeah. So he would have seen a lot more. But I think they've all lost their identity. As old as Jim.
Thank you. You see how he brought me into it?
That's what he does. He deflects so well.
He deflects so well. Let's head back to the UK and Ryan. Ryan, let's talk England and let's talk Jude Bellingham. Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, it's England Day, isn't it? And I was there, England versus Panama, and I saw the influence that he had firsthand. I mean, we've all seen that influence, though, and he is a very, very special player. It was obviously a goal and an assist. So talkSPORT Bet, another fantastic super boost after yesterday's Erling Haaland to score any time was super boosted. We've super boosted Bellingham to have a shot on target. It was very much odds on, and it's gone all the way to evens. Bellingham to have a shot on target. So you go on site, you go on the app, talkSPORT Bet, you load that up, and you will see that as a headline offer there. It was, as I say, a couple of moments from Bellingham. We talked about the wingers last week when I was with you, all of you. We talked about how the wingers need to get more involved, but it ends up being Bellingham who goes out to the wing and crosses that in. Do you think, Troy, that England are still like a moments team, or do you think, would you class them as a cohesive unit? In which camp, or is there a different camp that you would class them as?
At the moment, what we've seen, just go off the evidence we've seen, they're a moments team, aren't they? There's moments in games. We haven't strung together a full game yet. That doesn't mean it can't be done. And I'm hoping, again, like most people, as it gets further down in the tournament and we play against better teams that try and take us on, that team unit comes back together. But also that fear element comes in. At the moment, everyone else fears us. And it's kind of us having to self-motivate and get the job done and have a little bit of safety there because we don't want to mess up. We haven't lost yet, but if you look at the reaction after the Ghana game, and myself included, it felt like a loss. So I feel that at the moment it's a moments team because we're playing against low blocks and you're going to see that. We're going to need a moment from Harry Kane, a moment from Jude Bellingham to get us over the line today. But I'm hoping when we get to the likes of Brazil, Argentina, that's when the team will come together and you'll see everyone playing.
But we're not objective observers. We're not. I will listen to the other commentators. No, but let me explain that for a second. When you listen to Ibrahimovic and you listen to Thierry Henry, who are very prone to throwing out criticism left, right and centre. Ibrahimovic, yeah. And they talked about the Ghana result and they turned around and said it was a decent game. England played against a difficult side that decided to stop the game from being a certain way and they got a result, they got a draw. Yet we, because we're sitting there going, we've got to impress ourselves, we've got to dominate these sides, we've got to really put them to the sword. And that's because we lack objectivity, because we expect it of our players, because we demand it of our nation.
I disagree with that, because we've seen it.
But also because we're invested.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen it as well, haven't we, Si, on the go?
When?
We saw that we've got to these points in those low block games. We haven't been able to break it down. We've seen that for the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah,
that's why
that's not going to define our opportunity to win a competition.
Of course.
Right, and as we go deeper into the competition and we play against better opposition, that's less of a concern. So we all know, I think for most sides that play against low blocks, they have trouble.
Yeah.
Most sides.
Yeah.
So England aren't immune from it. So why do we think they will be?
Well, absolutely. And before you leave us, Ryan, I'm keen to know the reason for this. Is there a suggestion in your thinking that DR Congo and England might go to penalties? Because you want to talk penalties, don't you?
I do want to talk penalties, and kind of piggybacking on what Simon just said there. It is difficult to break down a low block. It is hard. You know, that is what it's designed to do. So that may well be the strategy today. You would think it will be for the opposition. Now, talkSPORT Bet have 8 or more games to be decided by penalties. That's 2-1. There's been 2 so far, so you'd need another 6 more. But for tonight's game specifically, either side to win on penalties in true 50-50 penalty style is 15-1. So I guess my final question is that stigma still there? Is that stigma still there, Troy, that England and penalties don't mix? Because I fear more about England when they go to a penalty shooter than I do my club. And I don't know whether that's just ingrained in me or whether it's because of what I'm seeing in front of me.
No, that's just history. But also we saw the Dutch, who are known for being very technical, miss 3 penalties. People miss penalties. Everyone thinks, and this is players as well, by the way, this is coming from someone who used to take penalties. Everyone thinks in training they can do it. Everyone thinks when they're watching, it's just a penalty, I took one at the park, I can do it. Put some pressure on it, real pressure on it. And even just have to do the walk and see if your legs go. It's I think when people look at penalties, it's about who can handle the situation the best. And I think a lot of our lads have been in situations now where they're used to handling real pressure. They actually think we're going to be in a good place when it comes to penalties.
Technically, it should be pretty straightforward, shouldn't it? Yeah. Says he who's never taken a penalty.
Yeah, no, but technically it should. You're shooting at a goal, you versus a goalkeeper. Technically it should. But also, in your mind, that walk up, you start overthinking at the time. Do I go left? Do I go right? You've got an analyst in your head going, he's dived 15 times to his left, he's dived 4 times to his right. OK, I better go to the right then. Oh, this time he just decided he's going to go to his right. Yeah. Now you look like the plonker.
Ryan, thank you very much indeed. Not a plonker in sight. That was a look at the latest odds thanks to talkSPORT Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
The Playbook with talkSPORT Bet. Download the app or visit talksportbet.com to see all our latest sign-up offers. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Germany's shock exit against Paraguay on penalties. A side ranked 31 places below them. So get this, I don't know if you're aware of this. Since winning the World Cup in 2014, Emmanuel, Germany's record is this. In 2018, out in the group stage. 22 out in the group stage. 26 round of 32.
Unbelievable.
What is going on with German football at the moment?
I think Gary Lineker have to change what he said about the Germans now. Because he used to say that football is a game that Germans always win. You know,
Okay.
At the end of the game, it's always Germans that win. But they are not winning anymore.
No,
it's a mess. It's a crash. It's a big failure. So I think today, within the next few days, I think it's gonna be a huge fight. You know, in the newspapers, and people will want some head to fall down. So. I'm very, very sad for the Germans, but in the meantime, I'm very happy because honestly, I don't have a big link with Germans, but what I saw last night reminds me what happened to us, during the World Cup 1998 against Paraguay. Remember, back in days, we had the golden goal, scored by Laurent Blanc, and we qualified, and the game stopped straight away. But I saw exactly when I was watching the game on TV, that remember exactly what happened against Paraguay. They wanted to go to the penalty with Chilavert, the goalkeeper. Yeah. He was the star man, for this team. And they almost did it, until that Laurent Blanc scored that goal, but they defended exactly the same way than yesterday, a unit, a block, a composure, fighting spirits all together. And we were...
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon with your 2 o'clock sports headlines. I'm Hugo Chambray. It's knockout time for England, and Thomas Tuchel is warning his side they'll have to be patient against a DR Congo team who won't allow them a lot of attacking chances. After frustrating Portugal to a draw in the group stages, these Congolese fans are sounding confident.
Failure is not an option. We are going to win. England is going back home. They're going to drink their tea.
England is a big competition for us, but I think we can do it.
We're Congo. We're the best team of Africa. We don't care about nobody.
Tuchel says he's keeping Southgate's penalty strategy in place should things come to that, while France are looking imperious after a 3-0 win over Sweden, and they face Paraguay next. Neil Maupay's told talkSPORT they're not worried about England.
I won't lie to you, in France, we're not really talking about England winning the tournament. We're talking about Spain. No, we're not. We're talking about Spain. We're talking about Argentina.
Kylian Mbappe's now scored 9 goals in 9 World Cup knockout games. Erling Haaland's winner over Ivory Coast means he's scored in 13 consecutive Norway matches. He sits one behind Messi and Mbappe in this World Cup's Golden Boot. Italy and Inter defender Alessandro Bastoni is under investigation for claims of child prostitution. The 27-year-old has been summoned to appear in court on Friday. His lawyer says his client categorically denies any wrongdoing. Elsewhere, Liverpool have completed the signing of France under-21 Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes. It's thought the deal could be worth up to £60 million. And world number 1 Arina Zabalenka is up a set in her second match at Wimbledon. Jannik Sinner is underway against Nuno Borges on centre court. Serena Williams is an injury doubt to play in the doubles with her sister Venus after picking up a knee injury in her first round singles loss. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
2 police officers involved in handcuffing a student who, while he lay dying in Southampton in December, are facing a gross misconduct probe. And a 3-year-old boy who ended up in a crocodile enclosure in Cambridgeshire faces a long road to recovery, according to his parents. There's more with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heat wave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Fine for most of us with sunny and cloudy spells. Warm in the southeast, showers possible in the north. Then this afternoon, rain and stronger winds arriving in Northern Ireland and Western Scotland.
Hi, everybody. Big day ahead in this part of the world. Straight after us, it is all or nothing as England take on Congo in their first World Cup knockout game. Adrian Durham, former England captain Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot will bring you that one live from Atlanta. Build-up starts straight after us at 4 o'clock with kick-off at 5 p.m. your time. And straight after that, at the earlier time of 8 p.m, Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara will be taking all of your calls on the World Cup Game Day Sports Bar. Another cracking day here in the US. Beautiful morning here in New York. It will get up to 35 degrees today. It's going to get hot. And just a reminder, don't forget, straight after us today, England, DR Congo, 5 p.m. UK time. If you're watching live on YouTube, it's hi to you. You will see that the three of us has become the four of us because it's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. And talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, joins us live in studio, somewhat out of breath after trying to get in and out of France against Sweden yesterday at the MetLife. So how did you find it?
Well, when the man to my left described the experience of getting to and from that stadium as hideous, I thought, not for the first time, he was being a bit overdramatic. He wasn't. It was absolute carnage. I mean, getting in, it took us an hour and 20 minutes in the taxi to do a 15-mile journey. The drop-off point for the taxi is miles away from the stadium. You go past the stadium. It felt like a couple of miles past the stadium to then walk half an hour to get in. And post-match is even worse. The game finished around about 7 o'clock. We didn't get back to Manhattan, 15 miles away, until 10. And trying to get out of the car park, it was absolute carnage. It's not even a good-looking stadium. I think they've dropped a clanger here, FIFA. The stadium in Dallas is much more aesthetically pleasing, and there's much more infrastructure around it. I don't think the final should be here in New Jersey.
Oh, you can do as well, Jim, like I did on Saturday. Just book the train, get yourself in and out in 30 minutes. That's all you have to do. Just forward plan.
Pay those hiked-up prices on the train.
Some of us don't mind, do we? So.
I mean, I have to say, Alex, Troy, with just a few words, has applied common sense. So why did this not happen?
Well, I'll blame producer Joe, Boss Joe.
Yes.
No, not that one. He was in charge of the logistics, so we went with him, really. But for four of us, 5 of us to get on the train, it would have cost what? $1,000?
Yeah, it's about 200 in it.
Yeah, we were trying to save the company money by getting a taxi.
I've seen your bill, mate. Don't you worry.
Certainly, I mean, Simon, you and I did find that. It seems like ages ago now, but Brazil, Morocco, it was a devil's own job getting in and out. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, the heat also played a part. I thought there was a limited amount of travel spaces on the trains that you can't just assume you can get a spot. And
Correct.
it was really, you have to be very organised and advanced in your thinking. Now, you might have disproved that by getting it the other day, but I was of the impression it was limited space. All of that considered, and Troy makes a point, but it shouldn't mean that actually the other methods of transport to get to the game should be so horrible to have to endure. Now people are going to say, oh well, what's the, go with the experience, and that's fine. That's your world. That's how you want to approach it. I don't want to go to a football match in a country that's so focused on how it provides customer service, or so it suggests it is, and find myself getting in that stadium taking 2-3 hours at a time. I think
it's pretty crazy.
It's not fun.
The absolute diametric opposite to what it was like in Qatar. Straight in, straight out, because it's a small place. England, DR Congo tonight, 5 p.m. kickoff, live on talkSPORT. What are you thinking? Early team news, because no Reece James.
No, that's the big call that Thomas Tuchel has got to make. Jed Spence shifting across from the left-hand side to right-back is one possibility. I think he's also mulling over the idea of maybe moving Ezri Konsa out of the heart of defence and putting John Stones at centre-back alongside Gay, and Konsa would then go to right-back. Interesting to see which path he goes down. I'm pretty sure Declan Rice comes back into the team, obviously rested for the last game because he had a bit of a calf issue, but he'll play, I think, alongside Elliot Anderson. Then Morgan Rogers will drop out and Jude Bellingham goes back into the number 10 position where I think we really see him at his best.
Yeah, I still think I think Konsa's been our most reliable centre-back.
It'd be a big call, wouldn't it?
Yeah, to put him out at right-back, I know he can do the job, but I just prefer the best players playing in their best positions. I said what I said on here before. Jed Spence going forward is great. Defensively, he worries me. Maybe in a game like today where he's not really going to be tested too much defensively, he can be in. But moving on in the tournament, I do worry that he will. He's always the first to drop, And if he drops too much, he plays somebody else on side, and we're in trouble. So that's all.
Troy, Wayne Rooney has been saying reportedly he would start Manchester United's Kobe Mino instead of Elliot Anderson. No, you're not having it?
Yeah, an ex-Man United player said he wants a Man United player to play. Couldn't make it up.
He said I'd go with Declan Rice sitting, Mino and Bellingham.
I think he was talking about. I think that was before that was before the last game, right? Where there was that talk about a double pivot and only 1-in-1. Look, I think Kobe Mainoo is a decent player. I think the hype is unnecessary at this moment in time. We haven't seen it for long enough periods to say, OK, he's a definite starter. But he hasn't actually had a minute this time.
It was strange that he brought on Jordan Henderson and not Kobe in that last game. That would have been the perfect opportunity to give him his World Cup debut. I'm president of the Kobe Mainoo fan club, as Troy knows. I think he's potentially an absolute superstar. But England's two best players so far this tournament have been Bellingham and Elliot Anderson. So I don't understand any argument for taking Anderson out of the team.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on him as you are yet. I want to see.
I mean, I remember Souness talked about it 2 years ago, and I'm going to take a lot more stock out of a central midfield player of Graham Souness' stature about what a central midfield player should look like. And he felt that Mainoo didn't know his job, was a long way away from the finished article. And I don't think there's been much evolution in Kobe Mainoo in the last 2 years. So I don't think there's an argument to put him in the side. I don't think he provides any particular solutions to any conundrums that he may or may not have. The big question is not about what Kobe Mainoo can do, it's about how creative England can be and whether we've got a clever ball. And I don't think he's got a clever ball in him anyway. The argument about whether we've got a clever ball in the middle of the park is the big question. And that's the one I think will remain unanswered until people like Eze start to step into the side and do things a little bit more than they've done in the last 2 games.
And then also the wide players as well. Wide players have been poor. I know Saka's building back up, so we're giving him a bit of a pass. But, you know, you look at the amount of turnovers that the wide players are doing, it's frightening. Marcus Rashford gave the ball 19 times last time. 19 times in the game.
And you watch him...
But why players do that? I mean, that is a step, you know...
Granted.
It's expected that they lose the ball because they're going to try and create things, and some of the time you're going to lose the ball, and that's the consequence of having a wide player and their role in life.
Granted, but that's...
You've got to work back.
But if you're trying to do that on the front foot and make things happen, I can live with that all day.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't eat the lunch for it.
But when you keep cutting back and you're trying to shoot and then, excuse me, a shot's not on, so you just kick it aimlessly because... It's the last thought is to pass it. That's where I thought 19 times was very high. Madueke 6 times when he came on. His first touch took it out for a goal kick. So it's like there's wide players have got to do more.
I think the big issue with Rashford, and this is why I think Thomas Tuchel probably does prefer Anthony Gordon, is he doesn't do enough work off the ball. I was watching him very closely in that last game, and he offers no backup to his left back. And when Nico O'Reilly isn't a left back, he's a midfielder by trade. That's not helpful. They'll be fine against DR Congo in that situation because they're not going to come under much pressure. But if you're coming up against France, who I thought were fantastic yesterday, you can't have a wide player who's not going to do his tracking back.
Also Brazil. Let's move it forward a little bit. If we get past the next
Mexico.
Yeah, but if we get past the next two, you talk about Brazil, you talk about Argentina. Their strongest suits is in the wide area. So I just worry that we're trying to peak at the end because that's, for me, it's a little bit of a risk because if you're not going to be ready now, I don't know how you're going to be ready.
I'm hearing a lot of people back home are detecting amongst the two of you and now the three of you a lot of confidence in England going in against DR Congo. I'm not saying you're suggesting it's a given.
No.
But England will see off DR Congo today, will they?
It should be a given.
But also, the bookies make us favourite, right? So they don't normally lose it. I've seen you get excited about trying to play Brazil. I think you could get a result against Brazil with your mob. So I think we're allowed to be a little bit excited against DR.
Can I just say there was absolutely no need for that, Troy?
It's just because I was unstitching my UPS stuff, you remember, earlier. So
all right, you're getting back at me. That was a bit of a kind of... I see. Interestingly, I want to get Simon's take on this. The other side of this break, it's become apparent as to how the USA are dealing with Mauricio Pochettino in contractual terms. I'm going to get into that next, and the suggestion being is, why don't other nations do what the USA are doing? I'll explain more after this. We are live in talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation. For all your trade or DIY projects, first stop, Toolstation. these fellas are amongst the bravest in New York. The window cleaners behind us here. If you're watching live on YouTube, let me describe the scene. As everybody now knows, we are 50 floors up here at the World Trade Center. And what we know, we've done a bit of research. We know a bit more about these fellas. The bravest workers in New York City. Angel and Milton clean the windows outside here in New York, the World Trade Center. Look at that. They never look down once. They just go about their business on a regular basis. They've been here for 10 years doing this. Incredible. And they're joining in. Now, how about that? Transfer window cleaners. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on talkSPORT, Angel and Milton have joined in. They are as much aware of us as we are of them, clearly, and they're aware that we are broadcasting.
Free from Simon, is it?
Free Martin Keown. I love. There's another one. Simon Jordan for PM.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. They are 50 floors up. I mean, the drop down there is unbelievable. Angel, who I was in conversation with just a few days ago, was telling me, what about this job you've got? How on earth do you do it? There they go. There they go, guys. How about that, folks? Angel was telling me, do I worry about what I do? Cleaning the windows of the World Trade Center, 50 floors up. And he looked at me and he said, I was more afraid of being broke than scared of heights. Oh, gosh. What about that? Yeah. He says, it's a job I do, and I just do it on a daily basis.
State of mind, isn't it?
I've got some mouths to feed at home. He's got a couple of kids, and he says, I was more afraid of being broke than scared of heights. How amazing is that?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do it.
I can hardly go near the window.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Stand out there.
I'm the same.
You know, it's
exactly the same.
ridiculous. But...
We're live from the World Cup in the USA. Straight after us today, England versus DR Congo, 5 p.m. kickoff UK time. England hoping to see off DR Congo, and if they do, then it's all roads to Mexico City. Anyway, that is then, this is now, and now they've got a job in their hands. Kickoff 5 o'clock. The USA have got a job on their hands later tonight. If you've seen off DR Congo, England fans, and you want to go that bit further, the USA face Bosnia tonight, 1 a.m. your time, and it's live on talkSPORT. We know this fella back from the Premier League in England, plays for Crystal Palace, defender Chris Richards, and he says for the USA, this is huge.
I think when it comes to a World Cup, every game does feel like a final. I mean, it's a very high-stakes kind of game, and it took you 4 years to get to this moment. So I think every game will be treated like a final, but ultimately it's a knockout round, and there's a lot less room for error. So we're on to this game, with a lot of confidence because of how we played so far, but also not with arrogance. Making sure that we give them the same respect that they deserve. And like I said, hopefully we can win.
There's huge interest, obviously, as you might expect in this part of the world, and it's growing all the time as the US attempt to go deeper and deeper into this tournament. But they've got to see off Edin Dzeko and Bosnia tonight. But Simon, I'm keen to get your take on this, and I wonder what this might lead to. The US Federation alone couldn't afford a coach like Mauricio Pochettino, whose contract is worth around $6 million US a year, £4.5 million a year. And that included, incidentally, a sign-on bonus of $2.5 million, £1.9 million. So billionaires have helped bankroll his contract and his appointment. In the small print of his announcement as manager back in 2024, it's become apparent that it reads, "This appointment is supported in significant part by philanthropic leadership gift from Kenneth C. Griffin." Mm-hmm. Who is he? Well, he is the founder and chief exec of Citadel and founder of Griffin Catalyst. An additional support, incidentally, was provided by a gentleman called Scott Goodwin, co-founder and managing partner of Diameter, and several other commercial partners. In other words, they all got together in a group and said, yeah, we'll do our bit here. You can have Pochettino, and we'll stand it up financially. What is your take on that? Because it seems to me that it makes extremely good business sense on the federation's part.
Well, every country has its structure slightly differently, and don't forget, this is not a sport that's incredibly lucrative in terms of the revenue it generates for the central authorities. The FA is funded by a raft of things in the UK, by its own commercial activity, by the utilisation of Wembley Stadium, and by the revenues it takes out of various things like transfer fees and league levies and things of that nature. So it has plenty of opportunity to be able to invest in the top managers that are around, like Thomas Tuchel. With the American sports, first of all, and another thing that we always find ourselves in the UK, and certainly in the UK, we don't invest in things, we sell things. We are quite happy to potentially entertain the Germans owning the stock exchange. We're quite happy to sell the Harrods to anybody. We're quite happy to sell every single asset to everybody in the world besides ourselves. We invent a lot of things and other people monetize them and take the advantage of them. So it doesn't surprise me that the American attitude is to seed capital something. It surprises me that Pochettino's motivation, I think there's more component parts to Pochettino being here, because the North American soccer leagues are going to pop. You've seen the Messi deal, you've seen the Beckham deal. Beckham did put his hand in his pocket to get a franchise. He simply went there and helped them at a stage in the evolution of American football, got the next cab off the rank, got everyone else to pay for it, and has now got a business that's worth $1.5 billion in capital value. Right. So it's inevitable that the sport's going to be valuable at some point, and maybe these guys, these very wealthy benefactors that are supporting the appointment of Mauricio Pochettino, have other things in mind. You might find they're indexed to some sort of academy somewhere in sport. We talked about Mark Warburton coming in the studio a year ago talking about in Charlottesville they've got this academy, and there's a queue, as long as you can imagine, of kids that want to go there paying $30,000 a year to have tuition in soccer. Yeah. So there's commercial aspects to it. So I would suspect it's to do with the fledgling nature of the financial structure of football in this country, alongside other aspects that might come into play. And I don't think there's a compare and contrast mentality of why can't we do this, because the other federations, we are doing it. We've gone on what we consider to be the best manager in class. The Brazilians have done it and gone to get their best manager in class that they feel for their particular situation, which is Carlo Ancelotti. So it's just a simple evolution of where the sport is. I don't suppose anybody's funding. I mean, obviously, they don't have an international NFL team or an international NBA team. Right. But I suspect for the Olympics and things of that nature, they do with the basketball. Yeah. But they don't require anyone to fund that, do they? I'm just thinking of other home nations. Why don't they look and learn from Northern Ireland, the Welsh, Scotland?
You're thinking of Scotland and Ange Postecoglou primarily, aren't you?
Well, I'm thinking of Scotland. But you do it. I mean, in different ways. What did Willie Hawkey do with the stadium?
Lord Hockey, yes. So him and Sir Tom Hunter, though. How about something similar? You know them. How about something similar to the Pochettino deal with philanthropic benefactors like those two coming in off the back?
But the commerciality of... I mean, first of all, the commerciality of Scotland's football is not worth very much, is it? So what you're looking for is undivided patriotism. No, but it isn't. It's not worth a packet of gobstoppers. We know that. All right. But it isn't. Go on with me. There's nothing controversial about that. Yeah, right? Thank you. But you're asking for blind patriotism, aren't you, in that respect? Yeah. And there's perhaps an argument for that.
But you're not asking the same thing from these gentlemen who are getting behind the US Federation for Pochettino.
But again, it's a different mentality.
And that's the kind of same thing.
What I notice about this country, and it's not suggesting that I just want to be disrespectful to my own country. If you're successful in England, it's about you were lucky to have gotten there, or someone gave it to you, or someone wants to pull you down. It's a culture of pulling people down. If you lose something, I forever from the day listen to the fact I'm a failed football club owner, rather than someone that made a lot of money at 30 years of age and was capable of being in that position. And in the US, you haven't achieved anything unless you failed. And then you go on and be something more successful. And behind every success are big failures. That's not how we look at things in Europe. So the American mentality, whilst flawed and supersized me and a little bit uncouth at times, is a mentality based upon how do we do something? How do we achieve something? How do we move the opportunity?
Yes.
So whether these guys see something in the commerciality of engaging, or whether they're just blind patriots that have got so much money that they don't want the USA to be an embarrassment to themselves on a world stage when it comes to a tournament such as this, all of these things probably come into play.
You see, I just think it makes sense. Don't you, Alex? Don't you, Troy? Yeah. You want so-and-so, hey, we know a few guys who can get you so-and-so, and they'll stump it up.
Then you ask the question, I mean, first and foremost, about football, and it's money.
Yeah.
People think that football is awash with money. People think it's a wonderful business to be in. It's a miserable business. It's not even a business. It's a sport, and it shouldn't be categorised as a business because nobody makes any money out of it. The only time you make any money, as I said the other day, is if you can hang on for a white-knuckle ride for some other silly bugger to come along and take it off you further down the line. So it's not a business that actually throws out any money for anybody but its participants. Maybe the broadcasters, because they get commercial revenue.
Unless you're the Glazers.
Unless you're the Glazers. And then you've got a business. And then what have you got? Everybody hates that model, don't they? Look at that model. That is business in sport. And nobody wants that, do they?
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act.
All right. We'll see if other nations follow suit with the American model. The Americans in action tonight. It's at the end of a long day, but it's going to be worth a watch, worth a listen. Live on talkSPORT, USA against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Before that, of course, England against DR Congo. 5 p.m. for you, UK time, live on talkSPORT. So are we live on talkSPORT with Toolstation for all your trade DIY projects. First stop, Toolstation.
Bentley has been terrified all week about the Ghanaian witch doctor he slagged off.
No, he did not.
Supposedly putting a curse on Harry Kane and England's number 9, subsequently missing a sitter. Now, thankfully, the witch doctor, of course, lifted the curse.
It's funny.
Right. Now, there was a report in The Sun that you, Emmanuel, were cursed by a witch doctor.
It's Senegal.
Ignored it
2002.
and got injured.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, before the World Cup in 2002, no, after the World Cup, actually, because we went out very quickly, during the World Cup in Asia. And when I came back, I was in holidays in south of France, and I had a friend, he was selling watches, on the beach, and he was expecting me, he was waiting for me for days. And then when he saw me, he came to me straight away and he said, I'm so happy to see you because I have something important to tell you. And I said, what is it? And he said, you have to be very careful because you have, how can I say that?
Curse?
A curse, yeah, on you. And you have to follow exactly what I'm going to tell you. And I said, what is it? He said, you have to go in Africa and you have to buy a cow and you have to kill it. And you have to follow...
Bit detailed and extreme, that one.
Yeah, but I said, listen, I understand and I really appreciate that. But this is your traditions and I'm not into it. So I won't do it. And 6 months later, I had to stop. But is it coincidental link? I won't say that,
Oh, so what happened to you? You got injured?
Yeah. And
they
cut my leg in 2 parts, so I had to stop playing football.
Did you get injured kicking a cow?
No.
Hold on. What part you got injured? Was it the calf?
No, that's my knee, the right knee, yeah.
Okay. You don't believe in any of that?
No, yes, I believe in it.
Are you amazed that Benny slagged him off?
No, I believe in numbers. I believe in sign. Around. I think you have to be.
Okay.
Is it superstitions? I have no idea. But
are you superstitious?
No, yes, I am.
Okay.
It's becoming ridiculous as well.
The German leading England. It all sounds a little bit odd, but as Thomas Tuchel tries to bring football home, here's how he ended up in one of the most scrutinised jobs in sport. Well, Tuchel started his footballing journey in the sleepy town of Krimbach. His leadership skills were obvious from an early age, with Tuchel even making subs during PE volleyball sessions. After a knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart U setup in 2000. He led the club's under-19s to their league title 5 years later, but his perceived abrasive personality meant Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract. He went on to spend 5 years at the helm at Mainz before leaving the club for Dortmund. And there, Tuchel secured his first major trophy, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more pieces of silverware came next for Tuchel in just 5 seasons at PSG, Chelsea and Bayern Munich. And that CV impressed the top brass at the FA.
We found so many similarities and so many things that suited my approach and my hunger to achieve special things. I always wanted to come back to England.
Well, he says all the right things, but is destiny on Tuchel's side?
We're live in New York City. It has just gone 9:30 in the morning. Spare a thought, everybody, for myself and Alex Crook, who in the last commercial break had to listen to a conversation between Messrs Jordan and Dini. And Dini was asking Simon, how is your back these days? Which is the worst thing you can possibly do. Because you got to factor in the fact you're going to be there for a good amount of time. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's loosening up a bit. But I've got to get back to London and see my phys, which I think is an abbreviation for physiotherapist. So
Troy did well to feign concern.
If he sees his phys, then he might get a bit more relaxation.
I'm always concerned about my friends.
The burning question here in New York is, how's the back?
We were just talking about a game of paddle. That's what we're doing, not the long bowls that little fruit over there plays with, or whatever it is you do in your spare time, tiddlywinks. Competitive stuff.
Troy, just a word of advice, mate. Don't ask him again.
Yeah.
Not while we're on air, mate, honestly. Alex Crook is with us, and thank goodness for that, because I want to get into this. Earlier this week, Elliot Anderson, who you would expect, obviously, to feature largely going forward for England, has agreed a move to Manchester City from Nottingham Forest for £116 million. Following that, here at talkSPORT, and this man works away in the background, giving us all sorts of facts and figures regarding transfer movement. Arsenal have had an approach for Alex Scott turned away by Bournemouth. Bournemouth hope Scott will sign a new deal. They value him at £80 million. While that is going on, Arsenal target Morgan Rogers, Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers, now being valued at a British record fee of £130 million by his club, Aston Villa. I mean, Alex, Anderson's move to Manchester City, to my mind, has it not completely skewed the transfer market?
Yeah, massively. And certainly speaking to sources at Bournemouth, even before this deal went through, they were keeping a close eye on the eventual Anderson fee, because we all knew that he was going to leave Forest. We all knew he was going to go to Manchester City. It was the worst kept secret in football. And I think clubs will use that now as a barometer for their own valuation. Certainly West Ham have done that with Mateus Fernandes, 85 million guaranteed from Tottenham for a player who's been relegated in back-to-back seasons. Seems unfathomable, really. And Manchester United walked away from the deal because they felt it got too expensive. They didn't really make a serious play for Anderson, A, because I think they always knew that he was bound for City, but B, because, again, they felt the fee was inflated. Tottenham are going to go back in again for Sandro Tonali. I think they're going to end up paying between 90 and 100 million pound for him. I expect that deal to get done. And we were just talking off air, if Sandro Tonali is worth 100 million quid, how much would Roy Keane be worth in 2026? I think he went for 3.75 million from Forest to United. How much would Paul Scholes be worth in the current market? It's crazy. And when I was a kid, it was all about strikers. I remember Alan Shearer going to Newcastle for a then British record fee of 15 million quid. Manchester United spending big money on Dwight York and Ruud van Nistelrooy and the likes. People don't spend that money on strikers anymore. It's all about these central midfielders, Troy.
Yeah. I think the game's gone a little bit, but the market will always move year on year. It's always going to get pushed. I struggle when you're talking about Fernandes and Scott to an extent at 80-odd million pounds to wrap my head around it. But if that's the going rate, that's just the going rate. Again, you talk about strikers, though, Crookie. There's not a plethora of strikers anymore, of top strikers. You look at that in the World Cup, we're not seeing everyone's got a top striker. So everyone seems to think that the holding position now has become vitally important. It was always important when you had Mourinho with Essien, Makelele, Bala. You can go through all these different places, but it seems to be pivotal to the way everyone plays now. It underpins everyone's formation.
Simon, obviously I want your take on this. The new norm appears to be 100, 120 million. Will the market reset at some stage?
Who cares? I mean, this is the nature of the business. It's a circular industry that spends its money in a certain way. Who cares? What the big concern for me is about the wages that go with it, because transfer fees are capitalisable. They go back around in a circle. You sell a player, you buy a player, the market moves around, money moves around between football clubs, it stays in the industry. The only a horrible, unappetising thing is it goes in the pocket of grasping little fleabag agents. And that's the part of the industry that needs to regulate itself better, because that's money going out of the industry. But money going around in a circle between football clubs, who cares about the quantum of it? It's entertainment. Go look at the American sports. Go look at what they pay their stars over here. You start looking at the NFL teams, you start looking at the NBA teams. Their wage rolls are $300, $400, $500 million. And the scale of their industry is so significant.
But you say that wages have got out of hand. Come on.
Now, wages, because the problem with high transfer fees is wages coming in behind it. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
So, for me, I now look at it, looking at from the outside in, having been in the inside, railing against the system, and trying to make sense of it from a business point of view. Stop trying to make sense of it as a business. It's not a business. Football is not a business. I always say it's a business and try and run it like a business. It's not a business. It's a sport. It shouldn't be governed by business rules. There shouldn't be this PSR nonsense in place. People should be able to invest in football clubs and build them as they want, because people own football clubs now for a whole different set of reasons.
I know that, but you see it differently to the rest of us. You are somebody who made an enormous amount of money due to your own business acumen.
Sure.
For the man in the street, Simon, this is a nonsense.
But the reasons why it's a nonsense.
But the fellow who can hardly afford his season ticket.
But this is the reasons why it becomes a nonsense, because, or not so much a nonsense, but it becomes challenging for the man in the street because it has a drag and tag effect. The cost implications of effectively the PSR governance means that ticket pricing and things of that nature become so much more prevalent because people are trying to fold their business down into a mechanism that actually makes commercial sense to the governance, which makes no sense whatsoever. What is it fixing? What did it fix? What did we fix with PSR? This mythical idea that people are going to go bust. What? Because a few football clubs have had some challenges. And that is now a blueprint for an industry that's been an unprecedented success. Regulate the Premier League, turn it into an uninvestable proposition, turn it into a situation where we're now hostage to fortune, where football clubs are going to sue one another up the yin-yang because of commercial breaches governed by what governance? You breach it financially, so we consequence you financially. Have you ever heard anything so absurd? But when we talk about, I've changed my view on a lot of these things about transfer fees and the ridiculousness of it all. It's the nature of the business. And people, we sit here with you, once upon a time with your yellow tie, and we talk about the idea of how people are fascinated and fixated by what happens on transfer deadline. I'm not, but most people are. They love it.
Oh, I
so
know.
it is a whole new dynamic. And whether someone's worth 120 million quid, whether Steve Daly, Trevor Francis, or whoever else was the first £1 million footballer was worth £1 million at that particular time, is an argument for pubs and clubs. But for the business itself, it's just circular money.
Can I ask you one? How do you think your pal Daniel Levy would feel about Tottenham offering Sandro Tonali £270,000 a week? Have they gone from one extreme to the other, Spurs? De Zerbi seems to be just chucking money around.
Well, I think Daniel would probably be deeply unhappy with the nature of how the game has been changed from underneath them, in terms of these were the rules that he was perhaps asked to adhere to, and this was the blueprint that he set out, which the majority shareholders were quite happy with, and they've now changed the rules. I think he would have been delighted if Joe Lewis and his little bunch of cohorts would have come in and said, here's another 100 million worth of liquidity, go after the marketplace.
But as an owner, would it sit right with you that Roberto De Zerbi has got so much power? You know, they've not really got a sporting director fit for purpose. He's basically doing both jobs.
I cannot imagine the relationship you would have today with De Zerbi.
But I can, because if he can do his job, then I wouldn't have the slightest problem. I wouldn't want to be within 50 feet of him who's doing his job. And my job is to make sure he can do his job and then get out of his way. And I don't want to be in his rotten training ground or be around his players. I want him to get on with his job and do what I pay him for. So this idea that managers don't have power is just a silly media creation. Managers have power. Managers are not accountants. They're not business advisors. They're not financial experts. They've got no idea how to do a contract. They don't do their own scouting. They might want a little bit more input about the player they actually want rather than a raft of players.
Yeah.
But with due respect, managers have a lot of power anyway. The only power that you don't give them is complete and utter unbridled access to your chequebook to do whatever they want with it.
But he didn't have that power at Brighton. That was why he forced his way out.
No, he didn't have that power at Brighton because the scale of Brighton didn't allow it. So Brighton had a certain operation, and quite frankly, it's been a very successful one. What he did was want what he wants when he wants it. And there's a stupid argument among certain sections of the fan base in the world that say, oh, let him have what he wants. Don't be absurd. Nobody in any walk of life gets exactly what they want when they want. And what De Zerbi did was preposterous. He decided that after a game against whichever team it was, Roma or something, got their backsides handed to them in their first season in Europe, he decided to go against an owner that built this damn club.
Simon, what's going to skew the market more? Elliot Anderson's move or financial rules?
Financial rules are going to kill it. Financial governance and what's going on with PSR is going to kill aspects of our game.
And when you say kill it, you mean kill it?
Yeah. I mean, look what this stuff with Burnley being sued by Everton. Wait and see what happens here. Yeah. I don't want to own a football club if I was back into this opportunity again, hence the reason why I didn't do Sheffield Wednesday. I want to own a law firm. I can make more money. Nick DeMarco's sitting there thinking this is like printing money for him. Yeah. This is gold dust in them hills.
Yeah. I mean, 4 English clubs, Simon, fined by UEFA as recently as yesterday for breaching financial rules for the period ending 2025.
What have they achieved? Yeah. What are these rules achieving?
Well, Villa,
you fine people money for overspending.
Chelsea were fined $1 million for breaking SCR rules.
Yeah,
I mean, when you think of that, last year they were fined 27. What's $1 million? How's $1 million going to hurt them?
It's pointless.
I don't know, maybe get Seth in a new car.
We're live in New York City. Big one later on today. All gets started, the first of 3 live games, of course, here at this World Cup. England-Congo, 5 p.m. for you UK time. It's live in talkSPORT.
Really bizarre situation what's going on with German football at the moment. Why do you think it's been total freefall ever since you guys won the World Cup in 2014?
I think there's been a certain amount of arrogance in the German camp and the FA. I think we've been living in the past since 2014 really. Nothing's really changed. I think the football is the same. very possession-based. We haven't really got any mavericks that can turn games around. We saw that last night. Leonard obviously is a big miss from the World Cup before he got injured. I think he could have made a difference last night. But in terms of that, I think it's been really, really slow football. Boring at times, and when it gets physical and when we play against teams that are a little bit more athletic, I think we struggle. We've seen it in the group stage too. When you watch the Ivory Coast game, I think we got lucky there. We should have probably lost that as well. So, and Ecuador was a real eye-opener. And what we failed to do after the Ecuador game was to be honest, in the press and in the team, it was kind of brushed aside as in, well, we were safe anyway kind of thing. So we took the foot off the gas, and that showed last night.
Good morning, Robert. It's Manu.
Looking good, mate.
Yeah, you too. Well, who is responsible for this mess? The manager, the players, all together?
I think it's been a combination of all what you just said. I think when you look at the game last night, could the players have done any better? I think, yeah, they could have done. I think they played with themselves. Once they went 1-0 down, they sort of stepped up a little bit. But I think, we just got stuck.
We're live in New York, another big match day, and of course England involved up against DR Congo, 5 p.m. back in the UK, straight after us here, live on talkSPORT. Lisa O'Sullivan can bring us up to date, Lisa, with what is going on at Wimbledon. Unlike myself, you're reporting very professionally on your own as a sole operator there, and I'm trying to contend with Dini, Jordan and Cook. Not so much Alec, who's a consummate professional, but these two are driving me nuts. Lisa, what's going on at Wimbledon?
I'm trying to keep myself in order here. Aryna Sabalenka has booked her place in the third round, 11-9 in the second set tiebreak against McCartney Kessler, who lost the first set 6-1. So Sabalenka safely through. Here on centre court, after his first round 5-set grind, you would have thought that plan A for current champion Yannick Sinner would have been to knock off a quick 3-set win over Nuno Borges in time to watch the football. Well, currently, he took the first set on a tiebreak, but Borges is now serving 4-3 in the second. And in the centre court Royal Box, I have to say we've got a Ryder Cup reunion. Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, skipper Luke Donald, the Molinari boys, and because he can wear it this year, resplendent in his second Masters green jacket, is Rory McIlroy.
Lovely. Nice company. It's time for this.
World Cup Game Day Sports Bar Preview on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction. Delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app.
Yeah, time now to look ahead to the upcoming Sports Bar special with Burger King. This evening, Cundy and O'Hara will be recording a Sports Bar special, and alongside them, they'll be joined by a special guest. We will reveal who that is later on World Cup Game Day. Here's who Cundy wants to join them tonight.
Well, I want Gabby. I mean, Gabby's not on talkSPORT enough at the moment, is he?
No, he's not. You're absolutely right. We're not hearing enough of him, are we?
No, I want more Gabby.
I want the day bookended by Gabby Agbonlahor.
Everyone needs a Gabby in their life. It's he's such a great boy. He's such great company, and he's got great football knowledge as well. And he's honestly, he's such a good lad, as you well know. So no, I want a little bit of Gabby action tonight. I don't quite know when that's decided, but myself and Jamie will be in situ at Redwood. That place gets raucous. It's like a bear pit in there, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, now this World Cup really starts in the knockout stages, the atmosphere is going to be crackling.
All right. You want Gabby? Get Gabby. Don't forget to tune in from 4 o'clock today. We will reveal who is joining the guys on the show, and it's all thanks to Burger King.
World Cup Game Day Sports Bar preview on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app.
A lot of talk about who will and who won't start for England today over in the US against DR Congo. Alex is beside me. What are you hearing, Alex?
Well, we're a couple of hours from kick-off now, so the team news is starting to filter out. Looks like Noni Madueke and not Bukayo Saka to start on the right wing. I'm not completely surprised by that. I still didn't think Saka looked anywhere near full fitness as he started his first game of the tournament against Panama, so maybe a fitness-based decision. On the other wing, we expect Marcus Rashford to keep his place ahead of Anthony Gordon, probably illustrating the fact that they're not going to have to worry so much defensively against this particular opponent. And I do think it will probably be Jed Spence at right back, which means Konsa and Gay maintaining their partnership at the heart of defence.
What's your take on that, Troy?
Yeah, it is what it is. The manager's made his decision in terms of the wingers and wide players that he's taking. I think Marcus is a lucky boy. He keeps getting chance after chance after chance, and hopefully he'll repay the trust in him. I haven't seen it yet. But, you know, who sees? I think Marcus Rashford is much better as an impact player, in my opinion. But we'll see. Madueke as well. Very lucky boy. Very lucky boy. But if you're going to do...
What do you mean lucky boy?
They haven't had a good game. Neither of them have had a good game. I don't care if Marcus Rashford scored when he came on as a sub. A full game is 90-plus minutes. Haven't seen it from any of them yet. So,
either of the three of you in any doubt that England will not progress after today?
No, I don't think there's any doubt. It's about how hard they make it for themselves. I mean, I want to see England start quick and go at them and stick it right on them. Mm-hmm. You know, really, from the first minute of the game, really go at them. You know, the Congo team are not a team to be concerned by. You have to be mindful of the opposition and respectful of the opposition, but you've got to stamp your authority on the game and go straight at them. Full court press. Go take this game. Take it away from them. Don't wait and have a look and see and ease ourselves into the game. Straight on the front foot. Straight into possession. Forward balls, not backwards and sideways. Forward balls. Get the wingers in the game. Get high up the field. Get Rashford having an impact from the first minute. If you think he's an impact player, which he and I concur with, make that impact in the first 15, 20 minutes. Get a goal. Change the direction of travel and all of a sudden make it easy for yourself. Don't make it hard for yourself by allowing them to get their foothold in the game, making them feel more comfortable, straight on their throats.
Seems good sense to me, Troy.
Yeah, but also the other part of it as well, both fullbacks for the Congo play in England. So these guys know them. Madueke knows who they're coming up against. It should be a case of, OK, whenever you've played for West Ham, I know I can get past you. You're getting it. And I think it's so important that these boys, like someone said, get on the front foot. And you can tell within the first 5 minutes how the game's going to go.
Absolutely.
And you want the boys to get on the board and just go, right, give it to Rashford because he's going up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who has been very good, obviously. But he should be going, wait, I played with you, Man United. I know what you like, what you don't like. You're getting it. And he has to. They both have to say today, right, today's the day I quiet down all the noise. And if anything, come on here tomorrow and go, oh, how wrong were we? They were great. At some point, though, they've got to do it. It can't.
But, I mean, they've started slowly in every game so far, so you expect you want to see different.
Do you know what would be nice? A statement performance that the rest of the world are going to set up and take notice of, like we've seen from the French. We want to be talked about in those same terms. We had it to a certain extent the second half against Croatia. But in a major tournament, when was the last time that England produced a display over 90 minutes that had the rest of the world fearing us?
No, I mean, I'm not so worried about that. I'm more concerned about making it easy for themselves. Make the job easy for themselves. Don't make it that you put yourself in a situation where you do not turn it into a game where the Congo team, is it Congolese, is how I pronounce it? The Congolese would have an opportunity in a penalty shootout. Don't make that the game. There's no reason for that to be the case. I have to say, I'm less condemning of Rashford than I have been previously, because I'm not going to eat his lunch for losing the ball and for running forward and trying to have a go. He was direct in the last game.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him start that way. In the next game.
I'm pretty sure I've got the team, by the way, Jim. So I think it's going to be Pickford in goal, Spence, Konsa, Gay, O'Reilly, Anderson, Rice, Saka, Bellingham,
So you just said
Rashford,
not playing.
and Kane. Sorry, Madueke, Bellingham, Rashford, and Kane.
Okay, good work. Alex, I want your
11.
take on this. As always, we're across what is going on back home, and reports coming out that just maybe Nottingham Forest will not go into this upcoming season with Vitor Pereira. Maybe there might be a parting of the ways. That is being suggested by certain sections of the media. What would be your take on that, Alex, that Pereira could be gone sooner than later?
Not entirely surprised, because when he came in, I always thought he would be a short-term solution. I thought Marco Silva had his name all over that job, but obviously he's now at Benfica. There were initial conversations about a new contract. He's been stalling on signing a new contract. I think part of the reason for that is that he's still being paid by Wolves. And if he was to sign a new contract at Forest, he might actually end up out of pocket. Maybe that's not gone down very well with Marinakis. No manager at Forest is going to survive very long under that ownership, are they?
That seems to be the case, Troy, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, for me, I thought he was very lucky to even get the job in the first place, to be honest with you. I've not really been too sold on him. And I've said...
Did a good job, though. In fairness,
he did do a good job, but I also believe as well that team was massively underperforming for what they had available. So again, he's raised the level, but then I suppose it's more of a question to you. If you've seen a manager come in, do well, take him to a level, but it's still not the level you expect this team to be at, do you then have the confidence for next year?
Well, I mean, Marinakis was complicit in the outcome, wasn't he? The fact that Nottingham Forest would have started the season with real pep in their step, they'd got this fortunate break of standing on the shoulders of giants of Crystal Palace and getting themselves into Europa League spot, right? Which they didn't merit. And starting the season with all the positivity of a finishing campaign. Chris Wood would never score goals like he did in that first season again. They always needed to improve. And then what they did was they fell out with Nuno Espirito Santo. They make appointments that don't seem to make a lot of sense. And Pereira was just I mean, he knows him, doesn't he? He's worked with him before.
Yeah.
So I don't suppose there's some big acrimony.
No.
I just suspect it's a different direction of travel. So to answer your question, Marinakis is complicit in the outcomes that they've got.
Yeah. OK, we'll watch for that one. Vitor Pereira possibly parting company with Nottingham Forest. Alex, before you leave us at the top of the hour, but thanks for the intel you brought us, that England team you expect to line up as what?
Yeah, not confirmed yet. We should get confirmation, I'd imagine, in the next half an hour or so. Pickford in goal. Obviously, Spence gets the nod at right back with no James or Jarell Quansah. Konsa and Gay continue at centre-half. O'Reilly, the left-back. Anderson and Rice back in to hold in midfield. Madueke preferred to Saka, Bellingham and Rashford, and then Harry Kane, the England captain, up front.
Great work by you as always, Alex. Thank you for that. Alex will leave us at this stage here in the World Trade Center. When we come back, the other side of this break, we're going to head to Atlanta, Georgia, and speak with Stuart Pearce as we build up in earnest to England against DR Congo, which is a 5 p.m. kickoff with you back home in the UK and follows us here in New York today. Stay with us. We're live in talkSPORT.
I think as well, when you lost the last final to Argentina, how they lost it.
Yeah.
The Argentina players celebrating after that penalty. It was a bit spicy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They'll want revenge.
100%.
They would love. I don't know if they can face Argentina in the final. I'm not sure. But
no, they can. Yeah, they can because they're on separate sides of the
exactly.
draw.
If they was,
I've just seen the step over again.
Told you, mate. If that was R9,
you are right.
That was R9 speciality. Step over and then goal.
Yeah. Even that. Who threaded the ball through?
Elise.
Through the legs of the defender.
Incredible.
We're just watching the replay of the goals now.
What Bentley says, like, you can't stop this. Look at this. They've got bodies behind the ball now, watching the third goal. Yeah, run here from Mbappe behind. No space in behind, but they find it.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got that.
Of course we haven't got that.
I don't think we have.
Don't think we got that. We're nowhere near them.
Do you know what? In midfield, though, that if England play France, like, listen, France are the favourites by... It's just not close in terms of the quality of the squad. But the midfield battle will be interesting because I think our midfield could give their midfield a run. Tchouameni, Rabiot... Kone. I think he can go up against that.
I agree. Left back as well.
Yeah.
I love Digne, but
I think
left
we'll
back,
get mauled.
you could get at Digne at left
Yeah,
back
100%.
as well. Kunde right back.
I think we get mauled if we play them.
No, I don't think we did it in the last World Cup.
We're questioning whether we're going to beat DR Congo tonight, and you think we're going to beat France?
Yeah, but that's more to do with... That's more to do with the well, not so much the climate, because I think it's in an air-conditioned stadium, but that's more to do with just the situation of the game and stuff. But those quality... I think England will raise their levels when they play against France. They'll probably still get beat.
Do you think we can beat France?
Anyone can beat anyone.
Do you think we can beat France?
I watched Cape Verde draw with Spain.
Yes, I know, but that was the opening game in the World Cup.
Still.
Do you think we can beat France?
I think we can, but I don't think we will.
Well, Andy, like I said earlier, the first team to open up against England, Rashford will fancy his chances against Kunde. If you've got Saka, maybe a bit better fit, or Madueke.
Talk Sport.
Good afternoon with your 3 o'clock sports headlines. I'm Hugo Chambray. talkSPORT understands Noni Madueke and Marcus Rashford will start for England this evening in their last 32 match against DR Congo. The Arsenal winger is expecting a similar test to their group games.
When you play England, naturally you're going to have a defensive approach because of the quality in our team. We have the same patterns and we'll look to try and implement them a little bit better than we did in the last game versus Ghana, which probably will be similar to this one.
Well, that means Bukayo Saka will start on the bench. Jed Spence is also expected to play at right back after injuries to James and Quansah. Thomas Tuchel says England are prepared for a difficult test and that they need to stay patient.
We know where we are. We know that it's now the moment to find ways to win. It's the moment to dig in. It's the moment to be patient and to do what we do on highest level. And they have the capacity to make their life difficult for everyone. They did it to Portugal and Colombia.
England DR Congo is live right here on talkSPORT from 4 p.m. this afternoon. Tonight's women will face the co-hosts Mexico in the last 16. They beat Ecuador 2-0 in the last 32, whose coach Sebastian Beccaceche has announced he's quitting as a result of their elimination. Chelsea have signed Italian international Marco Palestra. The 21-year-old's joined from Serie A club at Atalanta for £47 million in total. His contract lasts until 2033. Rugby union winger Caden Murley is expected to start for England against South Africa on Saturday. Skipper Maro Itoje has been rested for his side's First Nations Championship campaign. And world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, is through to the third round of Wimbledon after a straight sets win over McCartney Kessler. On centre court, Yannick Sinner is a set-up against Nuno Borges. There's more on our website at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
2 police officers involved in the handcuffing of a student who lay dying in Southampton are facing a gross misconduct probe. And the Halifax brand is going to disappear from high streets after 173 years. There's more with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Fine for most of us with cloudy and sunny spells, warm in the southeast. Showers possible in the north, rain and stronger winds arriving in Northern Ireland and Western Scotland.
Insurance blanket of a second goal. Will they be able to provide it here with Bellingham twisting left-hand side of the box, clipping it in for Kane? There it is! 2-0. Harry Kane, the dependable captain, with more goals now in England's World Cup history than anybody else.
England
They got the job done in the end. It wasn't thoroughly convincing, but England are there. They have topped the group.
We know what we need to do better, and we will get better. There's no problem in putting the work in and growing into a tournament like this.
I think there's still question marks there if we've got the potential to go and win this tournament.
Against the better teams, I think they will play better. Congo will be a really difficult game.
Lifted towards the penalty spot. Johan Wisser is there! And DR Congo are level!
The most important thing is to not be afraid, to be brave, courageous.
There's the round of 32. Come on, let's do the Congo.
Yep, it's serious stuff now. Of course it is. Straight after us today, England against DR Congo, 5 p.m. UK time. And thereafter, if England progress, they're off to Mexico City to face Mexico. That is then, but this is now. And now it's DR Congo. And again, straight after us today here in New York, we head to Atlanta. The build-up to the game from Adrian Durham. And then Jim Proudfoot will give you live commentary of that match. And alongside Jim will be England legend Stuart Pearce. Let's hear from Stuart now, because off the back of Alex Crook bringing us the early team news as he sees it, we can discuss who's in and who's out with Stuart, who is outside the stadium in Atlanta. Stuart, hi to you. As we understand it, Alex had team news a short time ago. His understanding is Pickford in goal, across the back, Spence, Konsa, Gahey, O'Reilly. In front of them, Anderson and Rice, Madueke, Bellingham, Rashford, and Harry Kane up front. What's your thoughts on that starting 11?
Well, I think when I was sort of asked probably the gang, I thought the only difference I would have probably picked was maybe started with Saka. But the bottom line is, as expected in many, many ways, I think Rashford's pushed himself ahead of Gordon. The only question mark, Jim, I'm looking at really that flummoxed me a little bit is the John Stones situation. You know, we've gone out of our way to pick John when he's not played a great deal of football. We've put him in for the first game, had a look at him in the first game, so it looked as though John Stones was arguably the first choice central defender. And since then, he's not started 3 matches. So it makes me wonder, will he kick a ball again in this tournament?
That's a good point that Stuart makes, is it not? Troy, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's a great point. Honestly, one that's kind of gone over my head a little bit because John hasn't played a lot over the last, 18 months. So kind of felt that was the starting 11 anyway with the 2 centre-backs. But great point from Stuart. Stuart, my concern has been the wide players at this moment in time. I understand Saka's coming back from injury. Right. It looks a little bit like he's not up to speed. But the other boys been massively underwhelming for me. Very tepid, not being direct, not being as aggressive as I would like them to be. Is today a day that you can see them doing that because of the low block of DR Congo?
Well, you certainly hope so. I think sometimes the supply of the ball's got to be that little bit quicker to them to get their wing-backs isolated. We think they'll play with a 5. And when you look, you've got Wan-Bissaka, who's a decent one-on-one defender on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, it's Arthur Masuaku, who's not really... He prefers to get forward rather than do his defensive work. So I'm seeing the right-hand side, the left-hand side of their back line being maybe the weaker area, if you like. But we've come into this tournament with 4 interchangeable wide players, and all of them on their day are a handful. So you just hope that they deliver that performance, you know. And I watched Brazil the other day, Troy, and they couldn't break the team down that they were playing. And all of a sudden, the first 10 minutes of the second half, they put 10 crosses in 10 minutes. And that's how they broke the deadlock. So with Casemiro, so I think maybe we might even have to take a leaf out of their book a little bit. And if it's not on to go past people out wide, toss the ball in the box and get numbers in there.
Yeah.
Stu, I was sort of expressing this view. I mean, you've played at this level, obviously. You've managed at a very high level. The setup of this game, everyone's concerned that Congo will do the same thing as the Ghanaians did, which was sit in, bank up and make it difficult. But starting the game with the tempo, starting it on the front foot, going to a full-court press, starting as we finished the game against Ghana, seems to be, to me, to be the prescription. Is that your view?
100%, Simon. I get frustrated watching England. Listen, you're a big lover. You and Jim are a big lover of boxing. In boxing, you don't tap around a little bit. Normally, you try and put one on their chin nice and early and rock them and put them on the back foot. I always had that proviso when I played as well. Can you do that in a football match as well and send a message out to the opposition and not build their confidence up by playing slowly, methodically sideways, building play up? Sometimes you've just got to get it forward, get it out wide and say, I'm coming after you straight away. You know, I think that's been our downturn, not just over this period, but probably prior to that. When Gareth was in charge, we've got to get on the front foot and go after these teams. They're expecting England to be a tough proposition.
So
I hope. I've got my fingers crossed. In all honesty, I've seen too many games where we've been too slow on our build-up from the offset. I'd be delighted if they got on the front foot from the moment, because you set a tempo and a pattern in the game otherwise.
Stuart, is there any aspect of DR Congo that concerns you going into this? If so, what is it? Where can they hurt England?
Well, we know Visser up front is a decent proposition. He's not had the best of seasons this year, but the opportunity to play against England, I'm sure he'll be relishing. He'll be the one that I'm looking out for that can actually, you know he can get a goal, and that is a big concern. But listen, in the main, on what I've seen in many ways, I think Ghana was a tougher opposition. I think they were a more aggressive opposition as well. So, listen, there's enough players in the DR Congo team that we know on a daily basis, and a lot of their players, well, when I say a lot of their players, Tuanzebe, Mazuaku, Wan-Bissaka, Visser, they've not had great seasons, you know, in the Premier League standards. No, collectively playing for their countries, there'll be a slightly different format today, but in the main, I think England will win the game. I think they'll win it reasonably comfortably, but that first goal is vitally important.
Stuart, thank you. Enjoy it, mate. Stuart will be alongside Jim Proudfoot. Live commentary coming your way immediately after us. The boys will build up to it. Adrian Durham will take over after us here in New York. Thereafter, Stuart alongside Jim Proudfoot, and it really gets serious. 5 p.m. kickoff with you back in the UK. England against DR Congo. And remember, after that, really interesting, they will head to Mexico City, the Azteca, high altitude, and take on Mexico. Anyway, they're not worried about that. Get into this. They've got to see off Congo first, and they aim to do that this very day. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney. We're live on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation for all your trade or DIY projects. First stop, Toolstation.
We've already established you're a deluded Arsenal fan. What do you make of Morgan Rogers and £130 million?
You know what? I saw O'Hara going absolutely mad on was it? He was somewhere. He was talking. Yeah, and he was talking about the prices, etc. And I do actually think he's right, man. I think the prices have gone absolutely crazy. But it's one of those where, as crazy as it is, number one, it's not my money, and number two, football makes so much money. They're only going to spend where they think they can get the money back. So as much as it's crazy for us and we go, oh my gosh, these crazy prices, they're making money selling people shirts on the back end anyway, and all these expensive tickets and everything that's going on. So someone can afford it.
Do you need him though, Joel? Because I agree with Benty when I've listened to Benty say that you've got Eze, you've got Odegaard, you know, you've got Ranieri, Dowman coming back, but don't you need a proper left winger? I know Martinelli can do good things, Trossard, okay, but wouldn't that money be well spent elsewhere?
I think he's so good that if he's available, you take him. I really do. I think in the Premier League,
130 million.
It's not my money. If they can afford it,
but that will
why
take.
do we care?
Because I'm guessing you've only got a certain amount of money to spend in this window, and 130 million will be a huge chunk of it. Wouldn't you rather spend that chunk of it on a left-sided midfielder?
It depends on who's available, though, Andy. Like nowadays, who's available? If I was to ask you, who do we get? If it's not him, who?
Nico Williams.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Barcola.
He's signed a contract though with.
Yeah, he don't want to leave, does he? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's look, Kvaratskhelia, however you say his name, he would have been brilliant like a couple of years ago, but we missed the boat on that. I don't want Rafael Leao. The option of Rashford, I've been hearing.
talkSPORT's Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Yep, here in the US, England in action against DR Congo today, one of 3 games, and you can enjoy a live commentary of each of these games on talkSPORT. Time to look at tonight's games with Village Hotels, so let's get on with it. Troy's alongside Simon. From here in New York, let's head to California, and let's talk about England's opponents straight after us at 5 o'clock kickoff today when they take on DR Congo in Atlanta. Let's not go to Atlanta, let's go to California for this fellow. Guardian football journalist, top African broadcaster, Osasu Obeyuana, joins us live on the show. Osasu, good to speak to you as always, my friend. On DR Congo, Osasu.
How are you doing up there?
We're doing very well, mate. Simon is missing you. We'll get to that shortly. Before we do, DR Congo, what kind of opponent will they be today for England?
I think they are going to be a very interesting opponent. Everyone assumes that England will win the game. They have the better players. The pressure is on them to win. For DR Congo, I mean, if I were in the shoes of Sébastien Desabre, their manager, I would just tell my players to play without fear because they have nothing to lose in this game. They are not expected to win the game. And if you're not expected to win a game, you can actually play with a lot less pressure and some more confidence, knowing that you don't have anything to lose. Yes, they have been playing low block football throughout the tournament, but you need to win the game. So I do expect him to make some tactical alterations that might, pull up a few surprises in the match.
Do you not think they're going to do exactly what Ghana did? The blueprint is there, right, to frustrate this England team. And arguably, they've got a little bit more directness in their forward players than what Ghana has. Ghana has to go wide to Semenyo and players like that to do something in the wide areas, where they can go straight through the middle with the likes of Vissa. So do you not think that'll be the same game plan?
Well, it depends. It depends on how the manager looks at the game today. I do think that DR Congo have a lot more options up front and they should use them. But it is very important for them to maintain some defensive discipline and to play a very, very compact game because we know what England can do offensively. So it will be foolhardy of them to play in a style that will be most favorable to England.
What do you expect to see, in all honesty, Osasu? I mean, what chance, and you know this Congolese side, what chance do you give them of causing what would be a major upset?
To be honest, I don't give them much of a chance. But then I have learnt many times that what you think of a team and what they are capable of doing on the day are two different things. So, you know, it would be foolhardy to underrate DR Congo, even though they are seen as, you know, most likely not to win today.
See, I think I'm a little bit more up on DR Congo in terms of, I think there's like a 20-30% chance. I really do.
Really?
Yeah, I do, because they're going to sit in, the blueprint's there, and not only they qualified for this tournament by being defensively resolute and defensively strong. So I do think there's a little bit more there. And also, I don't believe in this like free hit attitude, because on the flip side to it, if they were to lose 4, 5, 6-0, the lasting effects and repercussions of that is just as bad, right?
Yeah, but Troy, I don't expect any such result in this game. No, this is not the DR Congo team of 1974. That's a totally different age and time. So I expect the game to be competitive, and I expect it to be tight. For England, I mean, if they want to win the game, then they will just have to impose themselves early. I think Stuart was making mention of that earlier. If they are able to do that, then they have a chance of, you know, putting the game away early. But if they are not, and the Congolese are able to maintain their shape and confidence, then, you know, anything can happen.
I mean, I think that's the broad strokes. I think it's for England, without any disrespect intended, because I don't think anyone should take any opponent lightly, and I don't think they will. If England set up properly and play the way that they should and start the game brightly, then they should take the game away from the Congolese. Because if England can score early, Osasu, then it changes the complexion of the game and makes it a different spectacle. And if England get an early goal, then I suspect that they'll run out comfortable winners. If they don't get an early goal and all of a sudden frustration starts to set in, anxiety starts to set in, and the pressure starts to weigh down on their shoulders, that's where the Congolese can exploit the outcome.
I agree with you. I agree.
Good, you're learning.
Osasu, I'll tell you what, stay with us. In the meantime, I just want to tell everybody that you can watch the games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com. Plus, for a chance to win a Village Hotel VIP experience for the World Cup final at a Village Hotel near you, head to talksport.com/win.
talkSPORT Big Match Build-Up with Village Hotels. Watch the big games live in the pub and grill at your local Village Hotel. Find your nearest at villagehotels.com.
Osasu, nobody better to put this to a very interesting little clip from Riyad Mahrez on how the African nations, if you like, have performed at these World Cup finals in the US, because we now know that 9 of the 10 African nations made it into the round of 32 knockout stage. The Algeria captain, Riyad Mahrez, wanted to make a special point of that. This is Mahrez.
How many African teams gone through?
Tunisia's the only one, so 10 made it, 9. 9
wow, that's amazing. That shows the quality of African football, which is not always described as a really good football, but it is really good. It's difficult to play in Africa, and when you see 9 of 10 teams going through for the next round in the biggest tournament, that shows a lot, and I'm so happy that a lot of teams from our continent made it.
So a nice little push for us all there from Riyad Mahrez, Osasu, and he's been telling us what you've been telling us. you know, pay heed to this. African football is on the rise, and you think, yeah, he's spot on, do you?
It is on the rise, but, you know, funnily enough, I think we are not doing well enough. As I've said in the past, I think if we're just able to be more organized, professionally organized, we're able to plan the way you should plan for World Cups and for major tournaments, we will see an African team get to the final and probably win a World Cup, hopefully in my lifetime. But we just have to change our management style. Our federations need to be far more professional than what they are doing. Because when I look at certain things that have gone on with some of our teams at this World Cup, as Senegal, for instance, I'm most dismayed with this. And these things are not necessary. When you are coming to the biggest tournament in the world, you've got to be ready because all the other countries that are coming are serious and they are preparing with seriousness. If you don't take it with the same level of seriousness, I don't care what level of talent you have. You can only go so far with talent without the organization. I mean, I'm quite disappointed with Cote d'Ivoire in this tournament, for example. I don't see any reason why they should be out to Norway. The management of the game against Norway was poor. And Emmers Faye has a lot of questions to answer over his player selections for the game and how the team was set up. But, you know, fair dues to Norway. They play what is in front of them and gotten results against Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire in this tournament. And it's not easy to get results against teams with that kind of talent.
Osasu, yes or no? Do DR Congo get a result to their liking against England today?
I won't give you a yes or no answer, Jim. As I keep on saying, the field is green, the ball is round, it's 11 men against 11, and on any given day, any team can be beaten, my friend.
Excellent. Osasu, loving your work as always. Osasu Obeyuana joining us live from California as one of the African nations. DR Congo goes in against England immediately after us today. We are live on talkSPORT with Tool Station. Remember, first stop for all your parts, your bits and pieces, Tool Station. We're live in New York. Simon, what's happened? Have the Lewis family gone down into a vault under the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and got a pot of gold, come up the stairs, and from this point onwards, everything changes? I mean, why in 20 years could Daniel Levy not push for a change in their mindset?
You'll have to ask Daniel that. I can't answer that question. What I can tell you is that there will be certain decisions that Daniel would have made that they would have supported, and maybe they want a change of direction. Maybe they want a change of, well, clearly they want a change of direction because they've made decisions and made changes. That first instance, the first iteration of it was poor, i.e. last season. I don't know what we're making a hullabaloo about. They spend 150, 160 million pounds every season. Yeah. So the fact they spent 127 so far, 137 done it early, doesn't mean they're going to continue spending like drunken sailors for the rest of the transfer window. If they go and spend another 137 million quid over the next 6 to 8 weeks before the season starts, then let's all jump on board and say what a revelation that is. Yeah. But right now they've gone early. We don't know what they're going to trade out.
Well, does that balance off with the trade out though, right?
Well, they haven't done any trading out yet, so
they're going to have to.
For all we know, well, I don't think they're going to suffer from any PSR issues. I don't think Spurs have got a problem. What they've had a problem with is liquidity to be able to do deals, which means extra cash. And obligations to banks. One of the obligations many, many years ago, and I don't think this is an urban myth, Arsenal had to observe certain banking protocols and certain banking covenants, which means they had to stay within a certain confines of their banking relationships. And one of the conditions that Arsenal had to adhere to was Arsene Wenger remained manager. In the Spurs scenario, I've understood this to be the case, that the banking covenants restrict their wages to turnover ratio to a certain level. And if they break that banking covenant, then what happens is you get punitive interest charges. So the interest that you're paying on the borrowings that you have suddenly becomes more expensive. Now, the Lewis family might have turned around and gone, we don't care about that. Or they might have gone into the bankers and gone, we got a bunch of deals with you left, right and centre outside of football, pack in your nonsense, and we want to do it slightly differently with you guys.
Yeah.
So there might be a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm not defending Daniel. I'm just saying that the majority shareholders, who are the controlling influence of the football club, despite having their foot soldier on the ground who is running the business for them, are still the same majority shareholders. And to think that they're acting in isolation and Daniel had the autonomy to do whatever he wanted, probably not true.
We've all seen one of these before, right? The old heavy leather book. No, not that one. That one. Used in World Cups and football as a whole for years back in the day. It's a far cry from modern balls made from synthetic materials, full of sensors for VAR and goal line technology. So when did the switch happen? Up until 1970, it was generally the rule of thumb that the host nation would provide the ball. The balls were always made from leather, usually with a vulcanized rubber interior, the same stuff they make tennis balls from. But in rainy and muddy conditions, the ball would absorb loads, and it was like playing with a brick. In 1970, Adidas were tasked with creating their first ball, and they came up with this icon, the Telstar. Despite its new, sleek look, it was a handful for goalkeepers and pretty unpleasant to head with. So in 1974, Adidas came out with the Telstar Durlast, the first synthetically coated ball that would be resistant to water and mud, and generally wouldn't wear as badly. The next major breakthrough came during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, where Adidas placed an alien-like sensor in the middle of the ball, tracking every touch at 500 hertz to aid referees in offside decisions and handball calls. But in essence, it's the same ball developed by Adidas over 40 years ago.
Football form roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. The world's gone football. Get in on it with Sky Bet. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
We're live in New York. It is 10:30 in the morning here. It's 3:30 with you back in the UK. And we're joined by Michael Shinners back in the UK from Sky Bet to look at today's football and discuss the latest odds around and about it. Michael, hi to you, mate. Let's start with France. What are you thinking?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. I mean, they have been, arguably the best team so far that we've seen. And I think that's reflected in the prices. They were as big as 5-1 pre-tournament into 15-8 now. Clear favourite. There's been Spain have challenged them. Argentina have obviously looked good. Argentina at 4-1, Spain at 7-1. But France, the standout team as it stands at the minute at 15-8. And, going to the game against Paraguay, a really short price favourite.
OK, and you must be looking at Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone knew how good he was before the tournament. But he scored 6 goals, 2 assists. He heads the Golden Boot at the moment. He's even money. Lionel Messi in second in at 7-5. He's got 6 goals as well. Obviously, hasn't played as many games. Argentina still to play Cape Verde, but on the assumption that you think France are going to get to the final and Argentina are going to go deep into the tournament, it looks like it's going to be one of those two, unless Harry Kane turns up today and bags a few against Congo.
OK, and what about England straight after us? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, 1-4 England, 4-1 the draw, and 13-1 Congo. I mean, in terms of FIFA rankings, this would be the second biggest shock in World Cup knockout history. Should DR Congo beat England? But let's not think about that. And I should mention for the for Sky Bet customers, Sky Bet are offering a completely free bet to be used on any market on the game England against Congo today. Opt-in required, one per customer, and that expires at 7:45 tonight.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Michael. That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Sky Bet. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Football Form Roundup on talkSPORT with Sky Bet. Download the Sky Bet app and get in on it with Sky Bet. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Very briefly, let's head to Atlanta because England team news coming out. Let's hear from Jim Proudfoot. Jim.
Jim, thank you. 3 changes to the England team that beat Panama. Jed Spence comes in for the injured Jarrell Quansah. Declan Rice returns in midfield, as expected, with Morgan Rogers sitting out. The other change, perhaps less anticipated, sees Noni Madueke in for Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side. Plenty of speculation over the last couple of hours that would be the case, and it has come to pass. So England, Pickford in goal, Spence, Quansah, Guéhi and O'Reilly, Anderson and Rice, Madueke, Bellingham, Rashford and Kane. DR Congo include 2 former England under-21 internationals in Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Axel Tuanzebe, as well as 2 other English-based players, Siddiqui and Wissa. They make 1 change to the team that beat Uzbekistan. A kick-off here, Jim, in just a shade over an hour and 15 minutes' time.
Jim, thank you very much indeed. Of course, here in New York, we have been broadcasting from the SNY studios who cover all New York sports. Of course they do, but particularly baseball with the New York Mets. We were there the other night. And in the NFL with the New York Jets. So the emphasis not so much on soccer, if you like. Joining us now, Gary Apple, SNY sports broadcaster. Gary, great to have you on board.
Great to be with you guys.
So great to have you. Thanks. I mean, I've been working with Deanie and Simon, so it's great to be joined by a fellow professional. Great having you on board. Where do we stand with this? The MLS, is it always going to face an uphill task, even with the World Cup finals being here on your soil?
I think so. I mean, the MLS has a space here on the American sporting landscape, but it is what it is. This is a country that is focused on baseball and basketball. Football is king. American football, as opposed to English football, is king. So MLS has a place and a space here, but I think it's what it is. And even the World Cup being here, and it's exciting here in the States to have the World Cup, I don't think it will change the equation much when it comes to MLS.
I mean, it's amazing, Simon, isn't it? Even after the World Cup finals being right on their doorstep, from what Gary is saying, no, they'll revert back to what they love.
Well, that's an interesting perspective because it's very myopic. Because if you look at the scale of this game and you look at the opportunities that exist and you look at the participation levels, Major League Baseball is now falling behind in terms of participation levels, behind football. I'm not going to call it soccer. I'm going to call it football because that's what it is. You've got a game that's got 5 billion fans around the world. You've got a game that has 500 million participants around the world, so 1 in 16 people play this sport. You've got franchises now that are being sold for $500 or $600 million a pop in MLS. You've got huge levels of participation, huge levels of infrastructure being introduced into the MLS. This idea that it's going to eat the NFL or the NBA's lunch anytime soon, probably for the birds. But Major League Baseball is within its gambit of opportunities to be able to create outcomes. And the moment it gets a broadcast deal, the Apple deal was what it was. It was a Messi-based deal. But the moment it gets a broadcast deal, which it will do, I wouldn't be so sure that it doesn't have a footprint that can start really rattling the cages.
What were you saying to all of that, I'm going to chime in and say I completely disagree. I do think there is
because you've got a
Go on, Gary.
I've grown up in the sporting landscape here in America. Baseball is still immensely popular. Yes, does it have the participation from kids that it used to have? Probably not. But it's woven into the fabric of America. It's America's pastime. So yes, MLS, soccer. I played soccer in high school, football in high school. It has a place it will never overtake, in my humble opinion, it will never overtake baseball or basketball.
Even if
or
America
football.
has a strong World Cup showing, Gary?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was at the World Cup, I'll date myself, but I was at the World Cup in '94 in Los Angeles. I was at the final that year, Brazil and Italy at the Rose Bowl, almost 100,000 fans. Soccer fever, football fever had swept through the nation, and then it went right back to what it is. Now, I understand the MLS has grown. I get that. I just do not see any scenario, honestly, where it overtakes a sport like baseball.
You might be right. It doesn't have to be a peeing competition, does it? But I mean, given you're a nation that has a World Series amongst yourselves, it probably doesn't suit you to have a framework that competes. But I personally, having put a team over here in 2006 in the second tier of the MLS, having watched the MLS evolve, having watched the evolution of the world's biggest game, and watching the North American League, which I think will amalgamate with another league to be able to create a domestic footprint, I think you underestimate that particular landscape and opportunity at your peril.
I might be, but I will, and I fully recognize the global scale of soccer, of football, as you call it. I get it. It is the world's game, but I think it has its place, and we can go back and forth, but I think it has its place here in America.
You just think you have a different way of life.
We do, and I think it will be what it is. So. A different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You talk about influence plays. You've got your president gets elected on the back of having 200 million social media followers. You've got his mate, Pope Leo, that got 70 million social media followers. You've got Ronaldo and Messi with 1.7 billion
Yes,
followers.
I get it.
So the influence, we'll see. Commercially, this game is going to grow. Whether it becomes a rival to the traditional sports in America, we will see. Right. But notwithstanding that, what it is now is not what it will be in 10 years' time. And the North Americans will come to play, no doubt about it, in terms of a footprint and a representation in the global game.
Yeah,
no
well, listen, I think you can see the representation of the U.S. in this World Cup. The fact that they've advanced to where they are right now. We've seen the growth of the sport in this country. Right. I'm not denying that. I just wonder, where it will fit on the American professional sporting landscape.
I get it, Gary. I mean, the bottom line is this. Football fans taking over baseball stadiums at this World Cup with the Tartan Army, Scotland fans at Boston Red Sox, England fans at Atlanta Braves. I mean, this is what it's about. We're kind of seeing different aspects of your sport, and we're pushing our own fans into it.
Oh, I think it's been awesome. And I think it was the Norway fans, if I'm not mistaken, that were out at Citi Field doing the rowing.
They were brilliant.
That was awesome.
You're right, Gary.
Yes. I mean, listen, America has stood up and supported the World Cup in a very big way. I mean, you just walk around this city, there are watch parties everywhere. People are into it. I was on the subway going home from my night job as the host of Mets baseball last night, and just fans everywhere in jerseys. It's awesome. The U.S. has embraced this World Cup without question. I think it's really fun.
Just in the passing, I was at the Mets the other night. A lot doesn't happen, if you know what I mean.
You're talking about baseball.
I'm kind of hanging about thinking. I was with Bill the other night, who took us there, one of the big noises here in these studios.
Bill Clark.
Bill Clark. Top man is Bill Clark. He's standing over there.
Yes.
And I kept on turning to Bill saying, what is going on now? That is just baseball. It's so different to what I'm used to.
Yes, it's a very different game, but I think if you poll American sports fans, many of them, and you say, okay, football, they score once or twice and a lot of passing, but not many goals. I think you could almost equate that to any sport.
It's a good point you made. Right? We've got 0-0, Troy.
Yeah.
So
exactly
Gary's argument stacks up.
Well, I went to the Yankees game not too long ago, and I was told, don't worry about the game. It's not the playoffs yet. Let's just have some fun. So it's kind of, at this moment, it's about going and catching up with your friends. It's more of a social experience. Yeah. Whereas when you go to, I don't know, Palace, Brighton, it doesn't matter if it's at the start of the
it's woven into the fabric.
It's always going to be
happening. If you can make money out of the sports, then it will start to gain and garner interest. And when you start seeing MLS franchises that are now worth $1.5 billion at a very embryonic stage, then you'll start to see how that becomes more translatable. And you've got a very moving, I mean, I lived here for 2 years a long time ago. You've got a very different makeup of this country. You've got lots and lots of people in different parts of it that are very wedded to different cultures. You've got Italians and Portuguese in the northeast, up in Boston. You've got a lot of Hispanics and South Americans on the other side down at Miami and places of that nature. And these are very much seeded in a culture of soccer, football. So we'll see. But notwithstanding it, the Americans do things with scale. Everything they do with scale. Sometimes not as sophisticated and perhaps as cultured as I'd like it to be, but scale is part of it. And that's what this World Cup is.
And they seized upon opportunities, Simon, as well. I love it, to be quite honest, Gary. The hydration break culture in US sport. You commercialise it.
Well, it certainly has been commercialized with Fox Sports. Yeah. And, I know a little bit about my wife is one of the heads of publicity and communications at Sesame Street, one of the beloved
you should be working.
Right, institutions around the world. And so...
Was that to me or Gary?
No, you.
Oh, thank you.
Trust me, everybody wants to be a part of Sesame Street. But they have a collaboration with Fox Sports. And so we've seen the hydration breaks, and they've made a lot of money off these hydration breaks so far. So whatever you can do to monetize, they're doing it. So, it's been an interesting part of this. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the hydration? Terrible. It's not a part of the game, right? It's sort of a made-up...
No, but I understand there's certain games, obviously, from player point of view, when it's very, very warm, you do need it. I understand that. But when you're doing it in Dallas, when it's air-conditioned, it's like, this is only for monetization.
Right.
And it stops the flow of the game.
It's SoFi too, right? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's no longer a game of two halves. It's a game of 4 quarters, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it's become in the US.
Simon loves it.
You take on Bosnia tonight, Gary.
Yeah.
Are you really going to get intrigued?
Oh, I'm into
if
it.
the USA under Pochettino go really deep in this tournament?
I'm into it.
You think what might happen?
Well, could I sit here and tell you what's going to happen in the game? I know the U.S. is a slight favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
But when you look at the numbers, I think they've lost each of their last 10 games against European teams. So they've had an issue with European teams. So, listen, can they make a run? They'd have to beat 5 European teams, if I'm not mistaken, to win the World Cup.
Right.
I think the odds are certainly stacked against them. I would love to see them win this game, and then probably in the offing Belgium.
Yes.
That would be next. If things go according to plan.
Sure.
I'll be into it. Levi Stadium tonight out in San Francisco, just south of San Francisco.
Go USA!
Yes.
Off we go. Gary, wonderful. And Gary, please tell your wife if there are any openings at Sesame Street for Troy, myself, or Simon. We're in. We're not good, but we're cheap and punctual.
Oscar in the
I will send her that. Yeah,
Gary,
I'll tell you where to send the resume.
Thank you for being with us. Troy Deeney has so many commercial invitations at this stage that he leaves us, would you believe, Gary? Simon and I will see us out today. But Gary Apple, SNY sports broadcaster here in New York, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
Superbo.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good to
you
be with
so much.
Yeah, thanks.
As Gary and Troy leave us, I tell you what we'll do. Let's head to Lisa at Wimbledon, who will give us an update. Lisa.
A cloud has just cleared and a brilliant white light on centre court off the white of Yannick Sinner, the men's champion, who's put in a couple of hours of hard work again, but at last seems to have the measure of Portugal's Nuno Borges. The score on centre court, Sinner leads 7-6, 7-6, and is a break-up 3-2 in the third. Coco Gauff has just taken the first set against Solana Sierra, and also through today Sabalenka, Mukova, Osaka and Ostapenko.
Neil, why doesn't Mbappe get the respect that he deserves? Because I was saying earlier, if R9 scored that first goal he scored last night, we'd be all going crazy about it today.
It was an unbelievable goal. I don't understand. I feel like maybe his character sometimes seems to annoy people, but his quality on the pitch is just ridiculous. When you look at his first goal, the step over, the speed of the step over, and then the touch and finish, how quick is after that touch to take the shot is just unbelievable. And Gabby, you play football and you know how hard it is. He makes it look easy, but it's absolutely not.
Agreed.
Neil, Mbappe's getting a lot of the headlines, and rightly so, because the amount of goals he's scoring. But Michael Olise's performances, I mean, he has probably been, I'd probably say, France's best player, probably without getting the headlines.
In France, he's getting headlines. Don't worry about it. But we are very, very lucky, and I think he's the best French team in years. As far as I know, because we've got Dembele, we've got Olise, Mbappe, Bacola, we've got only world-class players. But I have to say, Michael Olise is probably our best player. Yesterday, when I watched the game, you know, everything was so easy for him. He's so effortless, and you can see like his quality. And when he's got the ball, like players making runs, and he always found the solution. He could have scored 2 or 3 goals if he was a bit more lucky. I think he's top of his game, and it's actually scary when you think about it, because he's only 20.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Getting towards the bar, works it inside the penalty area, and Jude Bellingham with a flying header has given England the lead.
Goes to the corner taker, he lifts it towards the penalty spot, Johan Wissa is there, and DR Congo are level.
Very soon we'll be off to Atlanta, where England will face DR Congo. And of course, England, it's a massive game. It's a massive game. It's the knockout stages. They win that, they head to Mexico and Mexico City, and we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, they've got to take care of Congo. If you are back home and in the Midlands, there is no better place to watch this match than at the talkSPORT fan zone. The atmosphere was electric on Saturday night at the SI Warehouse, and they're getting ready in that part of the world to go again with special guest England and Villa legend Emile Heskey. So you can get involved in that, talksport.com/fanzone. Simon, news coming into us before we leave everybody here in New York this lunchtime. Tottenham. Big talk that they are going to land Sandro Tonali. A first bid has been unsuccessful with Newcastle United. It's our understanding that Tottenham have gone in again, this time with £90 million in a second attempt to get Tonali out of Newcastle. What is going on at Tottenham Hotspur? One big bid for big players after another.
Again, we don't know what they're going to sell. If they sell Mickey van der Ven in the summer, people are going to start adjusting their attitude. But I am still mindful of the fact that I don't think Tonali wants to go to Tottenham. I think that might be the only option on the table for him at the levels that either Newcastle want economically for the transfer or he might want in his salary. I always felt and anticipated that Tonali would land at maybe an Arsenal or somewhere of that nature. No prejudice against Tottenham whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I still think there's probably some miles to run in that. But if Tottenham are prepared under this new regime opportunity to buy their way through certain circumstances and change and rip up the playbook that has worked in some respects and not in others, then let's see how it plays out. I mean, De Zerbi's a lucky boy. He's a lucky boy to be in a situation where he gets such reverence in terms of people's perspective of him as a manager, because he ain't done that much.
Sure.
He's lucky to be in a situation where he gets so much money.
Well, he got Brighton into Europe.
Oh, yeah, all right. He was given a nice platform to build off. So I respect that, but he hasn't won anything. And Tottenham are not in the participation business. They should be in the winning business, right?
Do I read it right that Tonali's people will have been given an indication that maybe not at that price, but at that price, this could happen?
Tonali's people?
Yeah.
They will be, you mean the ghastly...
They must be getting encouragement.
You mean ghastly little agents? No, they'll be sitting there wringing as much as they possibly can out of it. And they'll do exactly what Eze's agents did, which is basically say, can you do this? If he can do that, can you do that? So their job is to maximise the opportunity for themselves and the player, in which order you determine.
Yeah, I know you want to see England in a very positive manner. As you mentioned earlier on, stick it on DR Congo right from the word go. What are we going to see? What are we going to hear coming out of Atlanta?
Well, hopefully we're going to make it easy for ourselves. I mean, not make it a slog, not make it a battle.
Yeah.
You know, there's an expectation that it might be a slog. That's on us. If we set ourselves up properly and play properly and move the ball quickly and fizz it around and create opportunities, then we should take them. People are losing sight of the fact that actually against Ghana, despite the fact it wasn't a great game, Harry Kane missed a sitter. And we should have scored that goal and the game would have been won and we'd be talking about 9 points. I don't know if that's my aunt, is my uncle, we'd have these sort of things. The interesting thing is that we're talking about the success of African nations coming through and 9 out of 10. The next interesting thing will be how many are going to come through the knockout stages, and my estimation is probably 1. So it's wonderful to acclaim with Osasu the development of African football,
yeah,
but it needs to go deeper. England, I think, I'm optimistic, but I'm a total optimist. You have to be to own a football club. Deluded or optimist, one of the two. But I think England will get an early goal and they'll make it easier for themselves this time.
OK, that's it from us here in New York. Immediately after us, Adrian Durham takes over from Atlanta, and it really does get serious. The knockout stages, can England see off DR Congo? Live commentary, Stuart Pearce will be sitting alongside our own Jim Proudfoot. And of course it is, live on talkSPORT, as we have been today here in New York. Thanks for being with us. England-Congo is next.
Germany's shock exit against Paraguay on penalties. A side ranked 31 places below them. So get this, I don't know if you're aware of this, since winning the World Cup in 2014, Emmanuel, Germany's record is this. In 2018, out in the group stage, 22 out in the group stage, 26 round of 32.
Unbelievable.
What is going on with German football at the moment?
I think Gary Lineker have to change what he said about the Germans now. Because he used to say that football is a game that Germans always win, you know.
Okay.
At the end of the game, it's always Germans that win, but they are not winning anymore.
No.
It's a mess. It's a crash. It's a big failure. So I think today, within the next few days, I think it's going to be a huge fight, you know, in the newspapers, and people will want, you know, some head to fall down. So. I'm very, very sad for the Germans, but in the meantime, I'm very happy because honestly,